Chapter 5377. In the minor void paradise, Gu Fei had no choice but to act. If he didn't act now, the sorcerer king and the others would be in trouble. Gu Fei's attack forced the snow demon's real body to take 2 steps back. This surprised the snow demon's real body because no one had ever been able to force her back before. Weren't the 5 Emperor Realm experts as weak as ants when they encountered the snow demon's real body? The reason why the 5 Emperor Realm experts were able to leave the culmination snow mountain was because the snow demon's real body let them go. Otherwise, the barbarian king and the others wouldn't have been able to leave the culmination snow mountain. The snow demon's real body could easily kill the barbarian king and the others. The snow demon's real body was the ruler of the culmination snow mountain. Everything was under her control, but she stayed at the peak of the mountain all year round, trying to understand the secrets of the copper gate of heaven and earth. If Gu Fei hadn't killed one of her avatars, she wouldn't have left the mountain. Alright, it's been a long time since someone fought me. Today, I'll fight to my heart's content. Although the snow demon's real body was a woman, she was very strong. Being forced back 2 steps by Gu Fei directly ignited her fighting spirit. You are also the strongest opponent I've ever met in the Void Realm. Gu Fei looked at the snow demon's real body calmly. Then let's fight! As the snow demon's real body spoke, snow began to fall from the sky. Countless snowflakes fell from the sky, enveloping the entire world in snowflakes. What's this? Gu Fei frowned. In the next moment, a snowflake landed on his hand. Then, a snowflake appeared and pierced through his palm. What? With a thought from Gu Fei, a world of divine light emerged from his body and blocked the snowflakes falling from the sky. Good heavens! Gu Fei was truly shocked. A small snowflake could actually pierce through his palm. One should know that his martial body was the everlasting martial body. At this time, countless snowflakes had already enveloped Gu Fei. However, the snowflakes could no longer hurt Gu Fei. They were all blocked by the divine light around him. Although the snowflakes contained great power, they could not penetrate Gu Fei's divine light. At this time, Gu Fei's hand that was pierced by the snowflakes was healing at a speed visible to the naked eye. Humph! The snow demon's true form flashed forward and punched Gu Fei's protective divine light. Bam! In the next moment, countless snowflakes flew everywhere, and Gu Fei's protective divine light violently shook. Countless cracks actually appeared on it, as if it could collapse at any moment. Although the punch from the snow demon's true form failed to shatter Gu Fei's protective divine light, it sent Gu Fei flying hundreds of miles away, directly smashing into a mountain peak. The Shaman Emperor and the others who were watching the battle from afar were all stunned when they saw this scene. Could it be that even Gu Fei wasn't a match for this snow demon's true form? How could this be possible? If even Gu Fei wasn't a match for this snow demon's true form, then they would also be finished. Master, why don't we escape first? The 9-tailed fox emperor appeared beside the shaman emperor and directly transmitted her voice to him. What? Escape alone? That's too disloyal. The shaman emperor directly shook his head. No, master, if we stay here, we will only distract Lord Gu Fei. The 9-tailed fox emperor hurriedly explained. At this time, the shaman emperor and the 9-tailed fox emperor's lives were linked together. If the shaman emperor died, then the 9-tailed fox emperor would also be buried with him. However, if the 9-tailed fox emperor died, it wouldn't affect the shaman emperor. Because the shaman emperor was the master, and the 9-tailed fox emperor was the servant. On the surface, the 9-tailed fox emperor wanted the shaman emperor to leave, for the shaman emperor's sake, but in reality, she wanted to escape. Because if they didn't escape now, when the snow demon's true form really defeated Gu Fei, even if they wanted to escape, they probably wouldn't be able to. When the shaman emperor heard the 9-tailed fox emperor's words, he couldn't help but have a thought. If he stayed here, he might really distract Gu Fei. To Gu Fei, this wouldn't benefit him at all. I can't tell that a woman like you has such great strength. A figure dashed towards the snow demon's true form from 100 miles away. Refining heaven and earth. The snow demon's true form didn't even bother talking nonsense with Gu Fei, and struck out with her palm. This palm of hers actually struck out with the 4 destructive powers of earth, water, fire, and wind. Even the void was torn apart, and the 4 destructive powers shrouded Gu Fei directly. Haha, you want to refine heaven and earth? This bit of power won't do. Gu Fei laughed out loud. Since you want to refine heaven and earth, then I'll devour heaven and earth. As Gu Fei spoke, he opened his mouth and inhaled, and the 4 destructive powers that shrouded him were immediately devoured into his body. In just a flick of a finger, Gu Fei devoured the 4 destructive powers struck out by the snow demon's true form cleanly. You! The snow demon's true form was truly shocked. This fella could actually devour her power? This was something that had never happened before. There had never been anyone who could directly devour her own power. This fella called Gu Fei was the first. Sigh, it's not enough to fill the gaps between my teeth. Is there more? Continue. Gu Fei licked his lips and said, as if he hadn't had enough. What? At this moment, even though the snow demon's true form was an icy beauty, she was also enraged. Not enough to fill the gaps between your teeth? The snow demon's true form was enraged. A powerful force spread out from her body, causing the entire world to tremble. The void around Gu Fei's body actually shattered. I'm going to smack you into the primal chaos. The snow demon's true form struck out with another palm strike towards Gu Fei. What? Gu Fei looked at the surrounding void shattering and couldn't help but be taken aback. Then, the snow demon's true form struck out. Boom! With a muffled sound, Gu Fei and the void around him were smacked into the primal chaos by the snow demon's true form. Then, the shattered void quickly repaired itself. It seemed like Gu Fei was really trapped in the primal chaos. You come in too! At this moment, a divine chain directly rushed out of the primal chaos and immediately wrapped around the waist of the snow demon's true form. Then, it pulled her into the primal chaos. Damn it! The snow demon's true form was shocked and angry. She waved her hand and cut off the divine chain around her waist. Then, she rushed towards the closing void. If she got lost in the primal chaos, even if she wanted to get out, it would be a little troublesome. Haha, want to leave? Let's just play here. As Gu Fei spoke, he had already arrived in front of Snow Yao's true body. His first move was the 5 elements fist. The power of the 5 elements erupted from his fist, as if it was splitting the heavens and earth. With one punch, the surrounding billowing primal chaos was dispersed. After the primal chaos was dispersed, endless darkness and nothingness appeared. This kind of darkness and nothingness meant that there was nothing. And the primal chaos was born from nothingness. Preposterous! Chapter 5378. Naturally, there was nothing in the void. Therefore, Gu Fei and the snow demon's true body were unable to absorb the spirit qi of heaven and earth from their surroundings. Therefore, once their essence qi was exhausted, it could not be replenished from the outside world. However, this situation was not difficult for Gu Fei because he had an inner world that could continuously provide him with spirit qi of heaven and earth. Gu Fei's inner world was now infinitely close to the real great heaven and earth. The spirit qi of heaven and earth was extremely dense. Even if he and the snow demon's true body fought in the void for decades, it would not be a problem. However, the battle between Gu Fei and the snow demon's true body could not possibly last that long. 5-element fist! Gu Fei immediately used his best fist technique. Rumble! As he punched out, the violent power of the 5 elements erupted from his fist and directly surged towards the snow demon's true body opposite him. 9th Heaven Frost Palm! The snow demon's true body roared angrily as its palm gently met Gu Fei's fist force. An extremely cold palm force erupted from the snow demon avatar's palm, and Gu Fei's 5 elements fist force immediately froze, as if it had been frozen. Boom! The next moment, Gu Fei's 5-element fist force directly exploded and dissipated into nothingness. Ha! Gu Fei's heart trembled. This girl's palm technique was very powerful. He quickly retreated, but he was still swept by the snow demon's palm force. A layer of frost immediately appeared on his body, and a cold aura invaded his body. With a thought, Gu Fei's essence chi in his body was vast, and it directly forced out the cold aura that had invaded his body. Even the layer of frost on his body melted and disappeared. "You have ice, and I have fire," Gu Fei shouted. The next moment, a wave of pure yang essence chi immediately spread from his body. His entire body seemed to be on fire, and he was enveloped in a divine fire. Pure yang yuan chi spread out from Gu Fei's body, directly dispersing the surrounding cold air. "You can actually transform your yuan chi at will?" Snow Demon True Body said in shock. She had been in the culmination snow mountain for countless years, but this was the first time she had encountered such a person who could transform his own essence chi at will. The pure yang energy that erupted from Gu Fei's body was the nemesis of her ninth heaven ice palm. "You should also try my pure yang raging fire fist," Gu Fei shouted and directly punched the snow demon's real body. Monstrous pure yang true fire erupted from his fist and swept through the void. It also submerged the snow demon's true body in the sea of pure yang true fire. However, the next moment, the surging pure yang real fire was frozen. To be exact, it was frozen. The next moment, the frozen pure yang real fire began to collapse, and a figure walked out of it step by step. Gu Fei stared at the figure, and his pupils involuntarily shrank. He saw that the snow demon's real body was holding a bead in her hand, and endless cold air was emitted from the bead, freezing everything. "I sold divine bead?" Gu Fei was a little surprised. This kind of divine item was extremely rare. He had only heard of it, but had never seen it before. Who would have thought that today, he would actually see the I-Soul Divine Bead in the hands of the Snow Demon's real body? The I-Soul Divine Bead was a top divine item, a primordial treasure. After being refined by the Snow Demon's real body, the power of the I-Soul Divine Bead was even more amazing. No wonder it could even freeze pure yang real fire. At this time, Gu Fei knew that the Snow Demon's real body was really difficult to deal with, and she was a good opponent. "Seal!" At this time, the Snow Demon's real body directly activated the I-Soul Divine Bead in her hand, and an unimaginably powerful cold air immediately erupted from the I-Soul Divine Bead, instantly enveloping the void. Even Gu Fei could not escape, and directly turned into an ice sculpture, floating in the void. "Die!" The Snow Demon's real body took a step forward, and instantly appeared in front of Gu Fei, and then threw a punch. Bam! The Snow Demon's real body did not hesitate, and fiercely punched the frozen Gu Fei. The next moment, the thick ice on Gu Fei's body immediately cracked. In the next moment, Gu Fei's whole body, together with the ice on his body, suddenly exploded, turning into countless tiny fragments. However, there was no blood splattering out of these fragments. "Huh!" The Snow Demon's real body was taken aback. At this time, the fragments actually disappeared, and a figure appeared silently behind the Snow Demon's real body. Then, she stretched out her right hand and grabbed the Snow Demon's real body's neck. The Snow Demon's real body seemed to sense it, and instantly disappeared into the void. "Interesting." Gu Fei grinned. This Snow Demon's real body was really capable. The next moment, Gu Fei only felt a chill, and a thick layer of ice appeared on his body, directly sealed by the Snow Demon's real body with the power of the I-Soul Divine Bead. Then, the Snow Demon's real body appeared again, and directly punched the sealed Gu Fei into pieces. However, in just an instant, Gu Fei's body was reconstructed, and it was still full of primordial qi, without any damage at all. This made the Snow Demon's real body inexplicably shocked. "How is this possible?" Looking at Gu Fei, who had condensed his body, the Snow Demon's real body was really a little confused. This guy simply had an immortal body. How was he supposed to play? There's no way to play. If the other party doesn't die, then I will die. Thinking of this, the Snow Demon's real body broke out in a cold sweat. She thought that she had an immortal body, but who would have thought that Gu Fei also had an immortal body? In this battle, probably no one could do anything to the other. Why aren't you attacking? Gu Fei looked at the snow demon's real body in front of him proudly. His infinite martial body was immortal, and now that he had recovered his peak cultivation, it was impossible for the snow demon to kill him. However, it seemed that he couldn't kill the snow demon's real body either. The other party was holding the I-Soul Divine Bead, which was extraordinary. Neither of us can do anything to the other, so let's just forget about it. You destroyed my incarnation, the snow demon's real body said coldly. That's a good idea, let's do it like that. Gu Fei nodded. The snow demon's real body was also an infinite prime. It was not easy for two supreme existences of the infinite prime to determine a winner. The snow demon's real body didn't want to waste any more time with Gu Fei. Even Gu Fei didn't expect the snow demon's real body to stop. At this time, the void of the minor void paradise had already recovered, and they seemed to be trapped in the chaotic void. Why don't you open the passage and let us out? Gu Fei placed his hands behind his back and said calmly. The snow demon's real body was speechless. You can also break the void and enter the minor void paradise. However, the snow demon's real body couldn't be bothered to talk nonsense with Gu Fei. She pointed a finger, and the void shattered, creating a large hole in the chaotic void. Chapter 5379. Gu Fei's limitless martial body was unimaginably powerful. His entire body was a humanoid supreme weapon. Even if his martial body was destroyed by the snow demon's true body, he could still reconstruct his martial body in an instant without any damage. In this way, the snow monster really could not do anything to Gu Fei. On the other hand, the snow demon wielded a heaven-defying treasure like the I-Soul Pearl. She was an infinite prime, so it would not be easy for Gu Fei to kill her. Therefore, the battle between Gu Fei and the snow demon's true body was destined to have no ending. Unless Gu Fei really fought with the snow monster, he would have a chance to kill the snow monster. However, Gu Fei did not want to fight with the snow monster. After all, the relationship between the two had not reached the point where they could not live under the same sky. The snow monster's goal was actually very simple. She had only lost one of her clones to Gu Fei. She could make countless clones like that. It would be best if she could kill Gu Fei. However, if Gu Fei was too strong and she could not kill him, it did not matter. At this time, they all felt that there was no reason to continue the battle, so they stopped. The snow demon's true body pointed out with a finger and directly broke through the boundary of the little void paradise. After that, he took a step forward and directly left this chaotic place. Gu Fei also took a step and entered the minor void paradise. He did not want to stay here. At this time, the Sorcerer King and the Nine-Tailed Fox Emperor were waiting anxiously. When they saw the snow demon's true body walk out of the primal chaos void, they were shocked. They thought that they were really going to die this time. Just as the Shaman Emperor, the Nine-Tailed Demon Fox Emperor, and the others were in extreme despair, another figure walked out from the huge hole in the void. The person who walked out of the void was none other than Gu Fei. Humph! The snow monster sneered and was about to leave. Wait, why are you walking so fast? Gu Fei stopped the snow demon's true form. Is there anything else? The snow demon true body frowned and glanced at Gu Fei. Do you know where the heaven and earth copper gate is? Gu Fei asked. Hearing this, the snow demon true body's heart stirred. These people were also going to find the copper gate of heaven and earth. Of course I know. There's nothing on this snowy mountain that I don't know. The snow demon true body said proudly. Ha ha, that's good, then can you take us to the copper gate of heaven and earth? You want to find the copper gate of heaven and earth? The snow demon's true body pretended to be shocked. That's right. If you can bring us there, I'll give you a drop of the immortal godly medicine. How about it? Gu Fei said as he looked into the eyes of the snow demon's true form. All right. The snow demon true body pondered for a moment before agreeing. There's no time to lose. Let's go now. Gu Fei couldn't wait any longer because he had been in the void realm for a long time. He missed his family and brothers. Being trapped in this godforsaken place like the Void Realm, Gu Fei was really depressed. All right. The snow demon true body did not hesitate and directly led the way. Gu Fei and the others followed closely behind Gu Fei. When they were out of the minor void paradise, with a thought from Gu Fei, the entire minor void paradise disappeared and was kept by Gu Fei. Now that Gu Fei had control over the boundary bead, it was as easy as flipping his palm for him to keep the minor void paradise. Seeing this scene, everyone was dumbfounded. Even the world-suppressing tool's soul was dumbfounded. Its master was too amazing. He refined the boundary bead in such a short time? Because only after refining the boundary bead could he keep the minor void paradise. The minor void paradise was now Gu Fei's. The Witch Emperor, the nine-tailed demon Fox Emperor, and even the Snow Demon True Body were extremely depressed. If it was the Snow Demon True Body, she would be so depressed that she almost vomited blood. The Snow Demon True Body had been searching for this minor void paradise for countless years. Who would have thought that the minor void paradise would be taken away by someone right after she found it? At this time, Gu Fei activated the heaven and earth power of the minor void paradise to protect himself. The heaven and earth power of the minor void paradise isolated the heaven and earth laws of the void realm. This way, Gu Fei's infinite prime cultivation was no longer suppressed. This way, he no longer had to fear anyone in the void realm. It didn't matter whether he went to the copper gate of heaven and earth or not. He could directly go to the heavenly race and find Yuxian, or to open the teleportation formation to leave the void realm and return to the eternal world, the primogenitor's realm, or even the human realm. He didn't know how the human realm was now. There was also the heaven realm. Was the old tortoise doing well in the heaven realm? Ever since Gu Fei broke the super formation between the human realm and the heaven realm, the extreme Tao Supremes could openly appear in the human realm and the heaven realm. Fortunately, Old Tortoise and the others had also broken through to the extreme Tao realm and had the ability to protect themselves. Yan'er and Gu Ling, the mother and daughter, also had the eternal Tao treasure that he had left behind to protect themselves. Even the eternal realm experts in the eternal world couldn't do anything to them for a while. It was time to go back. After being away for so long, Gu Fei couldn't help but miss his daughter, Gu Ling, and his wife, Yan'er. The two of them were the most important people to Gu Fei in this world. How were Gu Fei's disciples? It seemed like it was time to gather all his disciples. With his current cultivation, wouldn't it be as easy as flipping his hand to gather his disciples? He even had 3 disciples in the void realm. However, he also had many enemies. Yuan Gu was even more mysterious, and his real body had never appeared. Until now, Gu Fei hadn't seen Yuan Gu's real body. This was definitely a hidden danger for Gu Fei. There were also the remnants of the heavenly Yao and those fellows in the eternal world. The peerless eternal stage existences of eternal world were not to be trifled with. That was especially true for the eternal demon clan. Gu Fei had killed off one of their strongest patriarchs. If those fellows were to enter the human plane, Gu Fei's disciples and friends would be in big trouble. However, there was no hurry to go back. Gu Fei wanted to see what the so-called Copper Gate of Heaven and Earth was. It could actually attract the 5 sovereigns of the Void Realm to risk climbing the culmination Snow Mountain. Under the lead of the Snow Yao's real body, they quickly appeared at the summit of the snowy mountain and arrived before the Copper Gate of Heaven and Earth. When Gu Fei saw the Copper Gate of Heaven and Earth, he was somewhat dumbfounded. Wasn't this just an ordinary copper gate? What secret was hidden on it? Of course, the Copper Gate was very old. But what was the point of being old? However, what were those spots on the Copper Gate? Gu Fei noticed that there were many dark brown things on the Copper Gate. What were those things? Could they be blood stains? Gu Fei mumbled to himself. Blood stains? Chapter 5380. In Gu Fei's eyes, the Heaven and Earth Copper Gate was nothing special. However, he discovered traces on the Heaven and Earth bronze door. It looked like traces of blood splattering on it, but the Heaven and Earth bronze door had existed for too long. The marks on the Heaven and Earth Copper Gate were already blurred. There's really blood on the gate? Snow True Body exclaimed in shock. How would I know? I'm just saying. Gu Fei shrugged. What? Just saying? Snow True Body was speechless. This fellow was really unreliable. So the gate is only SOSO. Gu Fei was a little disappointed. This copper door was embedded in the stone wall, so how was he supposed to open it? This was the dream of countless experts in the Void Realm. Legend has it that there was a world without death behind the gate. For countless years, the Void World's rulers had wanted to open the Heaven and Earth Copper Gate, but no one had succeeded. Even a being like the Snow Demon True Body could not understand the secrets of the Copper Gate of Heaven and Earth. But now, Gu Fei was not interested in the secret. This was because he had already regained his infinite prime cultivation. As long as he carried the Realm Pearl with him, he would be able to resist the laws of heaven and earth in the Void Realm. As long as he could resist the laws of heaven and earth of the Void Realm, Gu Fei would be able to ignore them. Only SOSO? The Snow Demon True Body was speechless. It had guarded the Copper Gate of heaven and earth for countless years just to understand its secrets. She did not stop others from coming because she knew that just because she couldn't understand it didn't mean others couldn't. If someone else managed to comprehend it, it wouldn't be difficult for them to control that person with their cultivation and battle prowess. Therefore, if others were to learn the secret of the Copper Gate of heaven and earth, it would be the same as her learning the secret. This was also the reason why the Snow True Body did not stop others from climbing to the peak of the Snow Mountain to find the gate. When those who entered the Snow Mountain could not find the gate, she would often send out clones to guide them in the dark so that they could find the gate. However, everything that the Snow Demon's True Body had done was not enough to obtain what she wanted. TSK, there is only one eternal and undying world, and that is the limitless realm. I don't care what secrets this broken copper door holds. That is not my goal, Gu Fei said disdainfully. What? Limitless realm? What kind of world was that? The creatures there are immortal? The Snow Demon True Body exclaimed. At her level of cultivation, she already had an immortal body. However, she was not truly immortal, because experts like Gu Fei could still threaten her. What she lacked now was a world where she could live forever. The ethereal extent was too small. The Snow Demon True Body stayed in the Void Realm for only one purpose, and that was to unravel the secrets of the Copper Gate of heaven and earth. But now, after hearing Gu Fei's words, she suddenly felt that the secret of the Heaven and Earth Copper Gate was not that important. Wasn't the limitless realm that Gu Fei mentioned the place she wanted to go? You know how to get to the limitless realm? Snow Demon True Body hurriedly asked. What do you think? Gu Fei pretended to be mysterious. You must know. Do you want to go to the limitless realm? Snow Demon True Body said excitedly. This is my secret, why should I tell you? Gu Fei said proudly. At this time, this fella actually came to beg him. At this time, the nine-tailed demon Fox Emperor was standing in front of the Heaven and Earth Copper Gate. She reached out her hand and touched the Heaven and Earth Copper Gate. She had stayed in the culmination Snow Mountain for countless years, but today was the first time she saw the legendary Heaven and Earth Copper Gate. Because of the existence of the Snow Demon True Body, the nine-tailed demon Fox Emperor had never come here before. Although the Snow Demon True Body allowed emperors from outside to enter the mountain, she prohibited the native creatures from reaching the peak. Actually, the Snow Demon True Body really did not put the nine-tailed demon Fox Emperor in her eyes. What's going on? The nine-tailed demon Fox Emperor suddenly exclaimed. What's wrong? Gu Fei and the Witch Emperor were shocked by the nine-tailed demon Fox Emperor. My hand! The nine-tailed demon Fox Emperor was incomparably terrified. Her hand was actually being sucked in by the Heaven and Earth Copper Gate. She desperately tried to retract her right hand, but her right hand seemed to be attached to the Heaven and Earth Copper Gate. No matter how she tried to circulate her mystic arts, it was useless. It's sucking my essence chi! The nine-tailed demon Fox Emperor exclaimed. She felt her own essence chi endlessly surging towards the Heaven and Earth Copper Gate, scaring her out of her wits. The essence chi in her body was already out of control. Very quickly, the nine-tailed demon Fox Emperor became weak. Even Gu Fei was shocked. This snow demon true body definitely knew that the heaven and earth copper gate was very dangerous, but she actually did not warn them. What was the snow demon true body doing? Was she trying to trick this daddy? Gu Fei was displeased. Sever your arm! The snow demon true body shouted. What? Everyone was shocked. At this time, the nine-tailed demon Fox Emperor's left hand chopped fiercely on her right forearm. Kacha! The sound of bones breaking could be heard. There was a flash of blood. The nine-tailed demon Fox Emperor had actually chopped off her own forearm. She stumbled backwards and sat down on the snow. Her right forearm had already been sucked into the heaven and earth copper gate. One could see with the naked eye that the nine-tailed demon Fox Emperor's forearm was rapidly shrinking, turning into a bag of bones. When the nine-tailed demon Fox Emperor's forearm's essence chi was completely absorbed by the heaven and earth copper gate, the forearm actually turned into dust. Seeing this, everyone could not help but be shocked. Even Gu Fei was in disbelief. This unassuming bronze gate could actually devour the essence chi of living beings? What was going on? Was the heaven and earth copper gate actually alive? With a thought, Gu Fei directly released the world-suppressing treasure's soul. This guy looked around as soon as it came out. Don't look around, come and see what this thing is. Gu Fei pointed at the bronze gate on the stone wall. What is this? Gate? Very familiar, isn't this the gate of Old Master's secluded cultivation? Why would it appear here? The world-suppressing treasure's soul was suddenly shocked. Could it be that there was a problem with Old Master's cultivation? The world-suppressing treasure's soul muttered to itself. A gate of secluded cultivation? Hearing this, Gu Fei and the snow demon true body were both shocked. At this time, the snow demon true body realized that the heaven and earth copper gate that she had been guarding for countless years was just the gate of someone else's secluded cultivation. Chapter 5381. The world-suppressing weapon's soul actually knew the secret of the heaven and earth copper door. This world copper door was just the entrance to a cultivation ground of the original owner of the world-suppressing weapon soul. The world behind the heaven and earth copper door wasn't a world without death. What's going on? Quick, tell me. Gu Fei's curiosity was also piqued by the world-suppressing weapon soul. The original owner of this world-suppressing weapon soul was an extremely powerful existence. The owner of the world-suppressing weapon soul was called Sacred Lord Void Sky. He was an invincible existence that had once walked through every corner of the Void Realm. From the world-suppressing artifact's soul, everyone finally had a certain understanding of this mysterious supreme existence. Sacred Lord Void Sky was an expert of the everlasting realm. Even in the everlasting realm, he was an overlord that almost no one was his match. Back then, he accidentally entered the chaotic streams of chaos and came to the Void Realm. Then, this overlord of the everlasting realm was trapped in the Void Realm for countless years and couldn't return. The era that Sacred Lord Void Sky lived in was extremely ancient. At that time, the Void Realm was still in a desolate era, and not many living beings knew how to cultivate. Therefore, there were almost no extremely powerful living beings in the Void Realm. Sacred Lord Void Sky could be said to be the ancestor of all living beings in the Void Realm. This was because he was the one who passed down the cultivation method to the living beings in the Void Realm. After tens of thousands of years, the living beings in the Void Realm formed the cultivation world. Countless living beings became stronger through cultivation. During Sacred Lord Void Sky's era, even Yu Xian, Palace Master Ling Tian, and the Limitless Demon Lord were still playing with mud. However, such an invincible existence actually disappeared one day. No one knew where he went. Even the world-suppressing weapon soul didn't know why its owner suddenly disappeared. No one knew where Sacred Lord Void Sky went, or if he was still in the Void Realm. Do you know how to open the heaven and earth copper door? Gu Fei looked at the world-suppressing weapon soul and asked. Master, don't you know who I am? Of course I know, the world-suppressing weapon soul said proudly. Then why aren't you opening the copper door? Gu Fei slapped the back of the world-suppressing weapon soul's head. Master, why did you hit me? The realm-suppressing artifact soul rubbed the back of its head and said to Gu Fei with a gloomy look. What are you waiting for? Gu Fei raised his hand to hit again. Right away, I'll open this door right away. As the world-suppressing artifact spoke, it directly rushed to the heaven and earth copper gate. The heaven and earth copper door was very strange. It had nearly devoured all the yuan qi of the nine-tailed fox emperor. The nine-tailed demon fox emperor had been forced to cut off her right hand by the heaven and earth copper gate. It wouldn't be easy for her right hand to recover. Right now, the nine-tailed fox emperor was already heavily injured. At this time, no one dared to get too close to the heaven and earth copper gate. Everyone stared at the world-suppressing artifact's soul. The realm-suppressing artifact soul formed a seal with both hands, then struck the heaven and earth copper gate on the stone wall. In the next moment, countless ancient and abstruse Tao runes appeared on the copper gate of the world. A powerful ripple of power erupted from the gate. Then, a beam of divine light appeared from inside the heaven and earth copper gate, and enveloped the entire heaven and earth copper gate. The heaven and earth copper gate disappeared? At this time, everyone was shocked because they could only see that layer of divine light. The heaven and earth copper gate had already disappeared. Alright, if you guys want to go in and take a look, then go in and take a look. There shouldn't be any danger inside. The world-suppressing artifact soul said to everyone. There shouldn't be any danger? Gu Fei and the others were speechless when they heard this. Sacred Lord Void Sky was an invincible existence. Even in the limitless realm, she was an overlord. If such a person set up a killer inside, then even Gu Fei and the snow demon true body would be in danger, let alone the shaman emperor, Man Kuang, the black snake emperor, and the flying tiger emperor. Go in and take a look first, Gu Fei said to the world-suppressing artifact soul. This? All right. The world-suppressing artifact soul actually wanted to go in and take a look because it was also very curious about where its original master had gone. Behind this copper gate was a place where Sacred Lord Void Sky cultivated in seclusion. The world-suppressing artifact soul flashed and directly rushed towards the heaven and earth copper gate. It directly entered the ball of divine light as if it had passed through a layer of water membrane. Seeing the world-suppressing artifact soul walk into the ball of divine light, everyone's eyes widened. However, in the next moment, the world-suppressing artifact soul rushed out while screaming. This guy looked like he had been roasted by fire. His white robe had turned into charred black rags that hung on his body. His hair, beard, and eyebrows were all burned off. He looked extremely pathetic. This guy's body was still emitting smoke. F*CK, did you just say that there's no danger inside? Gu Fei was a little stunned when he saw the world-suppressing artifact soul's pathetic appearance. Everyone else was also dumbfounded. Who knew that the old master had left a ball of divine fire inside? That guy is already psychic. It's not easy to mess with him, the world-suppressing artifact soul said gloomily. Gu Fei was shocked when he heard this. A psychic divine fire? I'll go in and take a look. As Gu Fei spoke, he took a step forward and directly entered the void inside the heaven and earth copper gate. This is... As soon as Gu Fei entered, before he could clearly see the surrounding scenery, he felt a wave of heat hit him in the face. The yuan qi in his body actually showed signs of being ignited. This was not a good thing. Gu Fei's heart trembled. It should be known that once his yuan qi was ignited by the divine fire, his body and soul would be destroyed by the divine fire, and he would die instantly. This is... Gu Fei looked around and saw that everything was in ruins. It was a huge ruin, and there were traces of fire in these ruins. After Gu Fei entered, these fire qi quickly gathered together and formed a human-shaped flame. An infinite-grade divine fire? Gu Fei was taken aback. This flame was actually an infinite-grade divine fire. This kind of divine fire was extremely powerful. Anything that came into contact with it would be burned to ashes. If he could subdue this divine fire, then it would be another trump card for him. A divine fire of this level could hurt him. It was no wonder that the world-suppressing artifact soul had been tortured so badly by this divine fire. Puny human, you actually want to subdue this infinite divine venerate? At this moment, a divine will was transmitted, and a voice directly sounded in Gu Fei's mind. "Io, you actually know what I'm thinking?" Gu Fei said with some surprise. "TCH, is it that hard to guess? That guy just wanted to subdue this deity, and now you're here. Don't you also want to subdue this deity?" The human-shaped flame sneered. "Since you already know, then cut the crap. Are you going to submit yourself or do you want me to do it?" Chapter 5382. To think that there would be another world within the copper gates of heaven and earth. But of course, this world wasn't some world without death, nor was it some other world. This was merely a place where the original owner of the world-suppressing weapons soul had secluded himself for cultivation. However, this place had already turned into a pile of rubble. However, this world wasn't small at all. It was a small world of its own. Within this small world, other than the rubble, there was a living being as well. A living being that was born from the unbounded God Flame. The true form of this living being was the unbounded God Flame. Therefore, this living being was truly strong. Even the world-suppressing weapons soul had to escape in such a wretched state because of this fella. At this moment, Gu Fei was facing off against this humanoid flame. "Cut the crap and submit to me obediently. That way, you'll be spared from a round of torture." Gu Fei looked at the humanoid flame and remarked calmly. "What did you say?" The moment the humanoid flame heard this, it was enraged. To think that this human would want it to submit to him? What a joke! Other than that old man, yours truly had never submitted to anyone. The next moment, a torrential god flame burst forth from the humanoid flame. Instantly it engulfed the entire place and drowned Gu Fei within it. Chaos reversal! Gu Fei did not dare to delay as he deployed one of the 9 secrets of the immortal path, chaos reversal. The void around his body was contorting. All of the unbounded god flames that were sweeping towards him were blocked by this contorted void, unable to get within 3 feet of his body at all. What? The moment the unbounded god flame saw this, it could not help but feel shocked. To think that this human could defend against its god flames. This was unbelievable. One had to know that the fella from earlier on had escaped in a wretched state after it had released its god flames. However, this human was different. Could his cultivation state be even higher than that fella from earlier on? Yours truly refuses to believe that I can't burn you to death. The unbounded god flame was going all out. An endless amount of unbounded god flames were gathering as a series of fire pillars appeared between the heaven and earth, sweeping out at Gu Fei. Boom! Boom! The entire sea of flames started vibrating. If your flames can even touch my robes, I'll take it as my loss. I'll just pat my bum and get the hell out of here. A wave of spiritual will spread out from Gu Fei's body. How dare you look down on me? The limitless divine flame was enraged, truly enraged. For countless years, there had never been anyone who dared to look down on it like this. Of course, apart from its master. This infinite divine flame was actually a divine flame within Sacred Lord Void Sky's pill furnace. Sacred Lord Void Sky used this infinite divine flame to refine pills. However, Sacred Master Void Sky's cauldron no longer existed. Otherwise, the infinite divine fire wouldn't have escaped and occupied this small world. However, the pillars of fire were shifted away when they were 3 feet in front of Gu Fei. Not a single one of them could touch Gu Fei's clothes. At this moment, Gu Fei was standing with his hands behind his back. He didn't care about the fire pillars that were coming from all directions. That was because the chaotic reversal secret technique could put him in an almost undefeatable position. No matter how fiercely the infinite godly fire attacked, it would be useless. What kind of divine ability is this? The infinite divine flame was enraged. This infinite divine flame was a divine flame within Sacred Lord Void Sky's pill furnace. Naturally, it had witnessed the various mystic skills of Sacred Lord Void Sky. However, the mystic skill displayed by Gu Fei was something that it had never seen or heard of before. "Why should I tell you?" Gu Fei chuckled. "Preposterous! I'll refine you." The infinite divine flame was enraged. The next moment, the pillars of fire that were shooting towards Gu Fei disappeared. All that could be seen was countless divine flames revolving and turning into countless Tao patterns in the shape of flames. A gigantic cauldron appeared in the sky. This cauldron trapped Gu Fei within. Within the cauldron, the infinite divine flame was rumbling. The massive power of the infinite divine flame surged towards Gu Fei from all directions. However, such a strong infinite divine flame couldn't even get close to Gu Fei's body. All of it was blocked 3 feet away from him. "How is this possible?" The infinite divine flame was completely flabbergasted. This human was practically invincible. No one had ever been able to defend against an attack like this. This was because it was creating Sacred Lord Void Sky's Pill Furnace. Sacred Lord Void Sky's Pill Furnace was an unparalleled Tao weapon that could refine anything in this world. However, today, the infinite divine flame was shocked to the extreme. This was because it had met a human that it couldn't refine. At this moment, a figure flashed. Someone else had entered from the outside. A chilling aura spread out in this small world. It was the snow demon True Body. "Haha, your nemesis is here!" Gu Fei roared out in laughter. "What?" The infinite divine flame seemed to feel threatened. "This is..." The moment the snow demon True Body entered, it saw a shocking scene. Gu Fei was trapped by a gigantic cauldron. To think that someone would want to refine Gu Fei! The fire aura that was emitted from the cauldron made the snow demon True Body feel extremely uncomfortable. A sacred pearl appeared above the snow demon True Body's head. An extremely chilling aura erupted from the sacred pearl and enveloped the snow demon True Body. This sacred pearl was the snow demon True Body's ultimate treasure, the I-Soul Sacred Pearl. This wasn't an ordinary I-Soul Sacred Pearl. It was a connate supreme godly item. The chilling aura that erupted from the I-Soul Sacred Pearl was the nemesis of the infinite divine flame. At the same time, the infinite divine flame True Body also felt extremely uncomfortable. "This is the infinite divine flame. If you can subdue it and merge ice and fire, your cultivation will rise to the next level." Gu Fei yelled at the snow demon True Body. The snow demon True Body's heart couldn't help but tremble. What Gu Fei said made sense. If water and fire merged and yin and yang gathered, his cultivation would definitely rise to the next level. However, how could it be easy to subdue this supreme divine flame? If she wasn't careful, she could be refined by this place at any time. "I'll go all out. If I succeed, my cultivation will improve greatly. If I fail, I'll run." The snow demon True Body made up her mind. She directly extended her hand and grabbed at the flame demon True Body. "You're courting death!" The infinite divine flame True Body was furious. In the next moment, the monstrous divine flame swept towards the snow demon True Body. This was a terrifying wave of fire. Humph! The snow demon True Body didn't dare to be careless. She hurriedly withdrew her hand. Then, the I-Soul Sacred Pearl floating above her head vibrated, and the chilling aura erupted. The waves of fire that were sweeping towards them actually stopped, and were directly sealed by the ice. Even the flame was sealed in ice. One could imagine how terrifying the chilling aura was. "You!" The humanoid flame was shocked to see this. Could that thing be the legendary I-Soul Divine Bead? Chapter 5383. The I-Soul Divine Pearl was definitely the nemesis of all divine fires. Even the everlasting divine fire was no exception. Of course, the everlasting divine fire was also the nemesis of the I-Soul Divine Pearl. The two of them countered each other. It was not easy to determine a victor. At that moment, the everlasting divine fire felt threatened by the I-Soul Divine Pearl. However, the snow demon's True Body also felt threatened by the everlasting divine fire. The two of them seemed to be born to be enemies. When Gu Fei saw this, he quietly retreated. He was ready to watch the show again. The show was about to start. He was very curious whether the snow demon's true body could suppress the everlasting divine fire or whether the everlasting divine fire could defeat the snow demon's true body. If the snow demon's true body was defeated, it would be fun. At that moment, the two strong cultivators were facing each other. It was like two different worlds of ice and fire. This small world was shaking. Countless doubt patterns appeared everywhere in this small world. They released the strong power of the Great Path and stabilized this small world. This was the formation that Sacred Lord Su Tian had set up. It protected the entire small world. Otherwise, this small world would have collapsed a long time ago. Rumble! Heaven and earth shook. The snow demon's true body became blurry. The everlasting divine fire's humanoid flame disappeared into the void. The sky was filled with flames. Even Gu Fei found it difficult to pinpoint the snow demon's exact location. There was no suspense. This great battle between infinite powers had begun. Because they were in Sacred Lord Su Tian's cave, the snow demon's true body and the everlasting divine fire did not have any scruples. They attacked with all their might. The monstrous divine fire turned into a hand that was larger than a mountain. It grabbed at the snow demon's true body. The powerful fire elemental power spread out. The surrounding void rippled like water. The snow demon's true body laughed coldly. In the next moment, an endless power of extreme cold erupted from her body. An ice blade appeared above the snow demon's true body's head. Slash! The snow demon's true body shouted. She waved her right hand. In the next moment, the ice blade slashed towards the flame hand. Swoosh! It was as if the entire world had been split apart by the snow demon's true body. The extremely powerful and extremely cold saber-chi spread out, and the big hand formed by the infinite divine fire was directly split in half. As the broadsword fell, the sea of fire formed by the towering divine fire was directly split in half. This, Gu Fei, who was watching from the side, was also a little surprised to see this scene. The battle prowess of the snow demon true body was not to be underestimated. At this moment, endless divine flames were gathering, all of them rushing towards the snow demon's true body. At the same time, the Ice Soul Pearl hovering above the snow demon's head exploded with an unprecedentedly powerful divine light. Everything that was illuminated by the divine light would be frozen in an instant. Not to mention the limitless divine flame, even the void froze in an instant. Boom! A human-shaped flame tore through the void and appeared in front of the snow demon's true form in an instant. Then, it threw a punch at the snow demon's true form. The snow monster's true form leisurely stretched out its right hand. Bam! The humanoid flame's punch landed on the snow demon's right hand. The power of ice and fire instantly collided. A circle of spatial ripples immediately spread out. Good fella! The power of ice and fire surged forth, and Gu Fei had no choice but to retreat far away. Of course, the mighty power of ice and fire couldn't hurt Gu Fei. The two figures moved quickly in the void, and the dull sound of collision rang out continuously. The void trembled. Even with the protection of Sacred Lord Void Sky's formation, countless spatial cracks appeared in this small world. These spatial cracks quickly disappeared. Very quickly, the humanoid flame was blasted away by the snow demon's true form. It directly smashed into the ruins below, causing dust to fly everywhere. Sigh, in the end, the snow demon's true form is still a little stronger. Gu Fei sighed. This limitless divine flame still lacked battle experience. How could it be a match for the snow demon's true form, which had lived for countless years and had experienced hundreds of battles? This limitless divine flame's battle prowess wasn't weak either. Boom! Another loud sound rang out, and the humanoid flame directly rushed out of the ruins. Roar! The humanoid flame roared angrily. In the next moment, endless divine flames erupted from its body and instantly engulfed the entire small world. No one could escape, because there was nowhere to escape to. In just an instant, every inch of the void in the small world was filled with terrifying limitless divine flame. Even the ground was burned red, and the stones turned into magma. Gu Fei had no choice but to use his protective divine light to protect his body. The snow demon's true form had the protection of the eye-soul divine pearl, so it was naturally fine. At this moment, countless humanoid flames condensed in the sea of fire. Then, these humanoid flames were like an army that rushed toward the snow demon's true form with earth-shattering killing intent. Although the limitless divine flame was only a wisp of divine flame from sacred Lord Void Sky's alchemy cauldron, over the countless years, this fire elemental life form had also cultivated its own mystical ability. You overestimate yourself! The snow demon's true form didn't care about the limitless divine flame at all. With a single thought, at the next moment, the powerful power of extreme cold turned into countless icy sword lights that pierced out in all directions. Wherever the countless sword lights passed, the humanoid flames that were charging towards them dissipated in the void. The snow demon's true form's sword principle was very strong. Its sword chi was vast and mighty, and more than half of the towering divine flames were actually extinguished. There were even more than 10 sword lights that directly pierced through the front of Gu Fei's body. Gu Fei waved his right hand, and the sharp sword lights that pierced through immediately dissipated in the void. Sword lights of this level naturally couldn't hurt Gu Fei at all. However, the limitless divine flame wasn't so lucky. It was directly injured and fled into the depths of this small world. A streak of fiery light could be seen disappearing from Gu Fei's line of sight. Where do you think you're going? The snow demon's true form wanted to subdue the limitless divine flame because what Gu Fei had said was right. If the power of ice and fire fused, its cultivation would definitely increase greatly. At that time, it would be easy for Gu Fei to subdue it. The snow demon's true form was very ambitious. She actually wanted to subdue Gu Fei because Gu Fei knew how to go to the so-called limitless realm where there was no death. Therefore, the snow demon's true form couldn't let the limitless divine flame escape. When Gu Fei saw the snow demon's true form chasing after it, he thought about it and also chased after it. If the snow demon's true form obtained the limitless divine flame, it wouldn't be a good thing for him, because the snow demon's true form was also a threat. Although the snow demon's true form didn't attack Gu Fei now, that was because the snow demon's true form's cultivation and combat power couldn't suppress Gu Fei. If the snow demon's true form's cultivation and combat power could suppress Gu Fei, she would definitely attack Gu Fei immediately. Chapter 5384. The everlasting divine fire spirit was no match for Snow Demon's real body, so it fled. This guy was a fire spirit. This small world was only so big, where could it escape to? When Gu Fei chased into the depths of this small world, he saw a shocking scene. He saw a shrine surrounded by divine fire floating in the void. A powerful wave of power that made Gu Fei's heart palpitate was emitted from that shrine. At this moment, a huge flame figure appeared above the shrine, looking down at Snow Demon's real body and Gu Fei. Haha! You two actually dared to chase after me, you're simply seeking death. The gigantic flaming figure laughed. So this is your lair? Gu Fei said. Humph, you know too late. The everlasting divine fire spirit sneered. What a powerful fire elemental power! Snow Demon's real body was dumbfounded. The everlasting divine fire condensed in this shrine was really strong. The fire elemental power used by the everlasting divine fire previously was probably not even 1/10 of the power contained in this shrine. At this moment, the everlasting divine fire spirit returned to the shrine and successfully controlled this power. After controlling this power, the everlasting divine fire spirit thought that it could directly crush these two guys in front of it, so it was extremely proud. You think you've got us? Gu Fei put his hands behind his back and said indifferently. If you submit to me, I won't kill you. The everlasting divine fire spirit said proudly. In the eyes of the fire spirit, power was everything. It was confident that with its power, it was enough to torture these two guys. Haha! Gu Fei immediately laughed when he heard this. However, Snow Demon's real body's face was extremely solemn. What are you laughing at? The everlasting divine fire spirit was angry. I'm laughing at you for being an idiot, Gu Fei said. You're courting death, the fire spirit roared. In the next moment, a huge palm directly slapped towards Gu Fei. Rumble! As the gigantic flaming hand descended, the entire pocket dimension shook. The power of the entire pocket dimension was stirred up. This was the power of the entire pocket dimension, crushing towards Gu Fei. Interesting. As Gu Fei spoke, he extended his right hand and pointed a finger forward. A beam of divine light rushed out from the tip of his finger, directly piercing through the huge flaming hand that was slapping towards him. Then, the entire flaming hand dissipated in the void. What? How is this possible? The limitless fire spirit was shocked. The current him was much stronger than before, so why was this guy still able to block his attack? You held back? The limitless fire spirit was shocked and angry. What's wrong with me holding back? Didn't you hold back as well? Gu Fei said disapprovingly. I'm so angry. The limitless fire spirit roared and attacked again. The entire divine hall began to shake. The light of the fire illuminated the entire place. The temperature of the entire miniature world skyrocketed. It was as if the entire miniature world was being roasted by the fire. Clang, clang! Chains of fire rushed out from the divine hall, directly entangling Gu Fei and the snow demon's true form. This was the power of the divine hall, stirred up by the limitless fire spirit. This was the true power of the infinite realm. Even an ordinary infinite realm cultivator would not be able to withstand it. However, Gu Fei extended his right hand, and a sword appeared in his hand. This was the sword of the stars of the 9 heavens that he had forged. Although it was not a true divine sword, but a divine sword condensed from the power of the Great Path, this was the first and last sword he had forged. That was because this sword was his natal sword artifact. Therefore, when he used a sword, he would subconsciously condense his divine sword. Of course, cultivators did not need a natal sword of the way, because the most powerful sword of a cultivator was themselves. However, Gu Fei was an exception. He had forged a sword of the stars of the 9 heavens. This was a sword of the way that could constantly transform as his cultivation increased. Gu Fei waved the sword of the Great Path in his hand. Clang, clang! The sound of metal colliding rang out. Then, a chain of fire that was entangling him was directly cut by his sword. Gu Fei cut the chain of fire with his sword, then took a step forward and appeared in front of the divine hall in an instant. Breaking extremity fist! The divine sword condensed from the power of the way of the sword in his hand instantly disappeared. Then, he clenched his right hand into a fist and punched at the divine hall. Breaking extremity fist. The moment Gu Fei punched, his battle prowess directly soared, directly breaking through his limit. The power of this fist was so strong that even the snow demon's true form widened his eyes in shock when he saw it. Gu Fei's punch was indomitable. The limitless divine fire that enveloped the entire divine hall was actually dispersed by Gu Fei's punch. The entire divine hall was directly sent flying thousands of meters away. Even the huge flame figure formed by the limitless fire spirit was dispersed. This was simply an invincible punch. The limitless fire spirit was directly stunned by Gu Fei's punch. This? Damn it! The limitless fire spirit hid in the fire god hall in fear. From the limitless fire spirit's point of view, it was simply unbelievable that Gu Fei could actually shake the fire god hall. One must know that this fire god hall was the alchemy hall of its master, Holy Master Su Tian. Holy Master Su Tian refined pills in this fire god hall. The fire god hall was protected by the formation that Holy Master Su Tian had set up. Ordinary infinite primes would not be able to shake it at all. However, this human actually sent the fire god hall flying thousands of meters away with a punch. This really frightened the limitless fire spirit. This human was indeed cunning. And just as the limitless fire spirit was still in shock, Gu Fei punched over again. Without any suspense, Gu Fei's punch once again sent the divine hall flying thousands of meters away. It directly smashed through a mountain peak and then fell to the ground, creating a huge pit. The limitless fire spirit hiding in the fire god hall was stunned. The limitless fire spirit really did not expect this human to be so strong. Fortunately, this human could not break the defensive formation of the Fire God Hall. Otherwise, if this human killed his way into the Fire God Hall, then he would be in big trouble. Right now, as long as he hid in the Fire God Hall and did not come out, the two fellows outside would not be able to do anything to him. However, at this moment, a big foot descended from the sky. With a boom, it directly stepped on the Fire God Hall and directly stomped the Fire God Hall into the ground. Seeing this scene, even the Snow Demon True Body was a little speechless. Gu Fei's attack was really unconventional. Is there an end to it? The limitless fire spirit was really angry. He could not afford to offend him, but he could not hide. With just a thought from the limitless fire spirit, the Fire God Hall directly became as small as a speck of dust. However, Gu Fei also became smaller than a speck of dust and directly appeared in front of the Fire God Hall. What? The limitless fire spirit was shocked. The Fire God Hall had already become so small, but this guy could still sense the existence of the Fire God Hall? Without saying anything, Gu Fei punched out again. Then, the Fire God Hall that had become as small as a speck of dust was once again sent flying. Chapter 5385. The defense of the Fire God Shrine refined by Sacred Lord Su Tian was naturally very strong. Even if Gu Fei used the full power of the Broken Extremity Fist, he could not break through the defense of the Fire God Shrine. Moreover, the Fire God Shrine could change size, hide, and fly. However, even though the limitless fire spirit used all the abilities of the Fire God Shrine, it still could not get rid of Gu Fei. It was still sent flying by Gu Fei's punches. How is this possible? If the limitless fire spirit was a living being with flesh and blood, it would have vomited blood long ago. This human was really too difficult to deal with. Boom! Gu Fei punched the Fire God Shrine from the ground into the sky again. The Fire God Shrine quickly grew bigger like a mountain, covering the entire sky. Roar! An earth-shattering dragon roar sounded. The limitless fire spirit gathered above the Fire God Shrine and turned into a huge fire dragon that fiercely pounced towards Gu Fei. These fire dragons were many times more powerful than the real Nine Heavens fire dragon. This was because this was a fire dragon formed by the limitless fire spirit. This limitless fire spirit was the most powerful fire in the world. If this kind of fire appeared in the human world or the heavenly realm, the entire world would probably be ignited by this fire, and then burned to the ground. However, this was the place where Sacred Lord Su Tian went into seclusion. With the protection of the formation set up by Sacred Lord Su Tian, the power of the limitless fire spirit could not destroy this small world. Kill! An earth-shattering killing intent erupted from the Fire God Shrine. The entire small world was trembling. 18 huge fire dragons descended from the sky. This scene was extremely shocking. The power of the fire element was unimaginably strong. Kill your head! Gu Fei did nothing. A monstrous devouring power emerged from his body. The 18 fire dragons were all sucked in by this devouring power. The 18 fire dragons rapidly shrank before disappearing into the void, vanishing without a trace. You! In the Fire God Shrine, the limitless fire spirit was dumbfounded. His powerful attack was actually dissolved by the opponent so easily? This human was actually devouring the power of the Fire Divine Palace. Even the limitless fire spirit had to be careful when controlling the power of the Fire Divine Shrine. But this guy actually dared to directly devour the power of the shrine. The limitless fire spirit could not help but be dumbfounded. Not bad, let's continue. After devouring the power of the 18 fire dragons, Gu Fei comfortably stretched his body. A faint layer of fire energy emerged from his body, and then disappeared. Damn it! The limitless fire spirit was furious. In the next moment, the Fire God Shrine shook, and an even more powerful formation was activated. A huge shadow stood up from the Fire God Shrine. This is... When Gu Fei saw this figure, he couldn't help being startled. It was a faint figure, and as soon as it appeared, he felt his soul tremble. How was this possible? Gu Fei hadn't felt this way for a long time, because there was no one in this world that could make him feel this way. But today, at this moment, he felt this way again. This feeling, which he hadn't felt for a long time, made him very uncomfortable. "You're dead this time, haha!" The limitless fire spirit laughed crazily. The snow demon's true body, who was watching from afar, was also shocked to the extreme. The aura that erupted from this figure was too shocking, it was simply invincible. "Why did you wake me up?" The faint and illusory figure actually spoke, and a wave of divine will directly spread out from this figure. Master? The limitless fire spirit in the fire god shrine was scared silly. It didn't know that it had actually released a clone of its master by activating this formation. Sacred Lord Void Sky? Gu Fei was also shocked. This was actually a clone of Sacred Lord Void Sky. How was this possible? Didn't this Sacred Lord Void Sky disappear for countless years? Why did he leave a clone in the fire god shrine? Although this was only a clone of Sacred Lord Void Sky, it gave people a feeling that it was extremely powerful. "And who destroyed my place of seclusion?" The clone of Sacred Lord Void Sky said indifferently. "Master, it was you who destroyed this place," the limitless fire spirit said carefully. "And?" The clone of Sacred Lord Void Sky was stunned. His clone had been sealed in the fire god shrine all this time, so he didn't know what had happened outside. The illusory figure was speechless. "I can't sense my main body. I don't know what happened," the illusory figure said in a low voice. This clone was just a divine will clone. It didn't have a flesh and blood body at all. For a divine will to exist for countless years, this Sacred Lord Void Sky was really heaven-defying. One had to know that a divine will clone that left the main body couldn't exist for too long. This was because the essence of the divine will clone couldn't be supported by the essence of the main body. It would continuously disappear until it completely disappeared. Even if this divine will clone of Sacred Lord Void Sky was sealed in the fire god shrine, it couldn't exist forever. However, from Gu Fei's point of view, this divine will clone of Sacred Lord Void Sky was really strong. Even he could feel an extremely dangerous aura from this divine will clone. Gu Fei really couldn't imagine how this fellow could be so strong. Just a divine will clone could fight against a true infinity stage powerhouse. If it was before, Gu Fei wouldn't dare to believe it. But now, he had no choice but to believe it. "Master, these two fellows broke in and destroyed everything. They even wanted to take away your shrine." The limitless fire spirit directly complained to the divine will clone of Sacred Lord Void Sky. This fellow. Hearing this, Gu Fei's expression immediately became solemn. The limitless fire spirit's cultivation wasn't good, but he was very good at complaining. The snow demon true body was also shocked. She directly appeared beside Gu Fei in a flash. The divine will clone in front of them was really strong. It seemed that this time, she had to work together with Gu Fei. If they didn't work together, they probably wouldn't be able to defeat this divine will clone. However, even if they worked together, they might not be able to defeat this divine will clone of Sacred Lord Void Sky. Is that so? Two sharp gazes shot out from the illusory figure above the fire god shrine and directly swept towards Gu Fei and Snow Demon's true body. "Senior, don't tell me you believe this fellow's words," Gu Fei said to the divine will clone of Sacred Lord Void Sky in neither servile nor overbearing manner. "Whether I believe it or not is up to me. However, it is a fact that you guys broke in here." Sacred Lord Void Sky's voice directly sounded in Gu Fei's mind. "So we're going to fight?" Gu Fei said indifferently as he met Sacred Lord Void Sky's gaze. "Humph." The divine will clone of Sacred Lord Void Sky sneered and directly grabbed towards Gu Fei and the snow demon true body. Chapter 5386. Just as Gu Fei was sending the Fire God Palace flying with one punch after another, the limitless fire spirit finally couldn't help but open a very important array. Who would have thought that after the limitless fire spirit opened the array, a divine sense clone would jump out of the Fire God Palace? This divine sense clone was Sacred Master Void Sky's divine sense clone. Sacred Master Void Sky was an extremely ancient existence. He was much older than Yu Xian or of the Sky race, and the Palace Lord of the Ling Tian Palace. Sacred Master Void Sky had appeared in the Void Realm when it was still in the Desolate Era. At that time, all living beings in the Void Realm didn't know the true path of cultivation. They could only instinctively absorb the spiritual energy of heaven and earth. Therefore, from a certain perspective, Sacred Lord Void Sky was the one who started the cultivation era in the Void Realm. The true cultivation techniques came from him. If it wasn't for Sacred Master Void Sky, who knew how long it would take for the Void Realm to enter the true cultivation era? Even though the guy that jumped out of the Fire God Palace was just a divine sense clone of Sacred Master Void Sky, it was still extremely powerful. Even Gu Fei felt threatened. At this moment, Sacred Master Void Sky's divine sense clone attacked Gu Fei and the Snow Demon True Body. Boom boom boom. The huge palm instantly covered the entire sky and sealed off all the paths of retreat for Gu Fei and the Snow Demon True Body. Gu Fei and the Snow Demon True Body had no chance of dodging Sacred Master Void Sky's divine sense clone. Since they couldn't dodge it, they could only fight it out. Gu Fei flipped his right hand and slapped upwards. Buzz! The sky shook, and a huge palm appeared above Gu Fei's head. It went straight towards Sacred Master Void Sky's divine sense clone. Boom! The two huge hands collided in an instant. In the next moment, a circle of spatial ripples visible to the naked eye spread out in all directions. Gu Fei's huge palm was directly destroyed by Sacred Master Void Sky's divine sense clone. However, with Gu Fei's palm blocking it, the Snow Demon True Body took this opportunity to rush out. So unloyal? Gu Fei was dumbfounded. Boom! Sacred Lord Void Sky's spiritual will formed a huge hand and slapped Gu Fei into the ground. Smoke rose from the ground, and a huge palm print appeared on the ground. At the center of the palm print was a person. How disloyal, running away alone! Gu Fei was depressed. Not only did the Snow Demon True Body not have any sense of loyalty, it was simply immoral. I thought you would be able to block this palm. In the distant sky, the Snow Demon's True Body said helplessly. You! Gu Fei was about to vomit blood. Who knew that you wouldn't even be able to block a single palm from him? The Snow Demon True Body spoke again. Pooh! Gu Fei was so angry that he spat out a mouthful of blood. Are you deliberately trying to piss me off? Gu Fei crawled up from the ground and shook off the dust on his body. At this moment, he was covered in dust and looked extremely pathetic. Although he was slapped into the ground by Sacred Lord Void Sky's spiritual will, he wasn't injured. One must know that he was a martial artist, and the strongest weapon of a martial artist was their martial physique. This was what Gu Fei relied on. The strength of the infinite martial physique wasn't something ordinary people could imagine. You're actually fine? Seeing Gu Fei stand up from the ground and pat the dust off his body as if nothing had happened, even the spiritual will of Sacred Lord Void Sky was a little surprised. TSK, you want to injure me with this level of strength? You must be joking. Gu Fei was very confident. Alright, I'll play with you then. The spiritual will of Sacred Lord Void Sky directly rushed out of the Fire God Palace, and instantly appeared in front of Gu Fei. So fast! Gu Fei was shocked. Before he could react, the spiritual will of Sacred Lord Void Sky's fist had already smashed into his chest. It wasn't that he didn't want to dodge, but the spiritual will of Sacred Lord Void Sky actually controlled the time and space around him. Therefore, his reaction was always a beat slower than the spiritual will of Sacred Lord Void Sky. Bam! With a muffled sound, Gu Fei felt as if he had been hit by a divine mountain and was directly sent flying. Gu Fei was directly sent flying for hundreds of miles. Boom! He directly smashed through a mountain and fell to the ground. He rolled on the ground for more than 10 miles before finally falling to the ground. Damn it! Gu Fei was lying on the ground, extremely depressed. Why is the spiritual will of Sacred Lord Void Sky so powerful? I don't even have the ability to fight back. Is this really just the spiritual will of Sacred Lord Void Sky? Seeing that Gu Fei was actually sent flying by the spiritual will of Sacred Lord Void Sky, the snow demon's true body was really stunned. This was because she had a certain understanding of Gu Fei's cultivation and combat strength. Gu Fei was a true infinite prime. How dare you! Gu Fei was angry. He was really angry. He stood up from the ground. However, when he stood up, he suddenly saw a face appear in front of him. This face was almost touching his face. Damn! Gu Fei retreated rapidly. However, it was too late. The spiritual will of Sacred Lord Void Sky's fist smashed into his chest again. Without any suspense, Gu Fei was once again sent flying. The power of Sacred Lord Void Sky's spiritual will was simply too strong. It was simply unstoppable and almost indestructible. Gu Fei was stunned by this fellow's attack. He flew all the way back, fell to the ground, and rolled all the way. Everywhere he passed, everything he touched was directly smashed by him. Sigh! Gu Fei lay on the ground and ate the soil again. You're too weak! A figure directly appeared in front of Gu Fei. Of course, with Gu Fei's current posture, he could only see the other party's feet. The spiritual will of Sacred Lord Void Sky was looking down at Gu Fei, who was lying on the ground with dust all over his face. Haha! Gu Fei suddenly laughed out loud. Has this fellow been beaten silly? Seeing that Gu Fei was still in the mood to laugh, the snow demon's true body in the distance couldn't help but be stunned. You can still laugh at this time? The Wuji fire spirit turned into a figure surrounded by flames and appeared beside Gu Fei. If it wasn't for the spiritual will of Sacred Lord Void Sky, this fellow couldn't wait to step forward and trample on Gu Fei. Don't force me to use my ultimate move. Gu Fei gritted his teeth and said. What? Haha, you still have an ultimate move? The Wuji fire spirit was overjoyed to see Gu Fei in such a sorry state. Didn't you have a good time just now? Let's see how you do it now. Haha. The Wuji fire spirit laughed loudly. Bam! With a scream, the Wuji fire spirit was directly smashed in the face by a fist. Then, the Wuji fire spirit was directly sent flying. Your 5 elements are asking for a beating. Chapter 5387. The limitless fire spirit didn't expect Gu Fei to be able to jump up from the ground and send it flying with one punch. How is this possible? The limitless fire spirit screamed as it was sent flying by Gu Fei. Seeing this, even Sacred Lord Void Sky's divine will clone was stunned. This guy still had the strength to send the limitless fire spirit flying after being punched twice? The boundless fire spirit was a true infinity-level life form. Moreover, the boundless fire spirit did not have a physical body. It was just a fire spirit. Even so, Gu Fei still managed to send it flying with a single punch. Gu Fei's punch almost shattered the limitless fire spirit's human figure, which shocked the limitless fire spirit to the extreme. The snow demon true body in the distance was also stunned when it saw Gu Fei suddenly explode and send the limitless fire spirit flying with one punch. This Gu Fei was too strong. Damn! Sacred Lord Void Sky's divine will clone sent another punch towards Gu Fei. Without any suspense, Gu Fei was sent flying by Sacred Lord Void Sky's divine will clone once again. There was no other way. With Gu Fei's current cultivation and battle power, it was impossible for him to dodge this punch from Sacred Lord Void Sky's divine sense. Breaking this punch from Sacred Lord Void Sky's divine sense required absolute power. Only absolute power could break through the restrictions of space and time. With Gu Fei's current battle power, it was difficult to do so. Therefore, in front of Sacred Lord Void Sky's divine will clone, he could only be abused. Gu Fei was very clear about this, so it wasn't impossible for him to turn the tables. Boom! Gu Fei was sent flying by Sacred Lord Void Sky's divine will clone for another 100 miles. He rolled on the ground for another dozen miles before lying on the ground with his face covered in dust. Preposterous! Gu Fei was depressed. This guy's punch landed on the same spot on his chest. Ever since he stepped onto the path of cultivation, he had never been in such a pathetic state before. After arriving at the Void Realm, he rose even more powerfully, pushing his way through, fighting against the barbarian sovereign, taking in Yusianer, and contending against Ling Tian Palace Master. How glorious was this! But now, he was actually tortured so miserably by someone else's divine will incarnation. This almost drove Gu Fei crazy. What, you still want to resist? Sacred Lord Void Sky's spiritual force arrogantly looked down at Gu Fei, who was lying on the ground. Don't force me to use my ultimate move! Gu Fei gritted his teeth and said. Tisk, if you have any ultimate moves, just use them. Sacred Lord Void Sky's divine sense clone said proudly. Does this guy really have a trump card? The limitless fire spirit rushed back, but he didn't dare to get close to Gu Fei. Just now, Gu Fei's punch had almost destroyed his soul. Even the snow demon True Body, who had been watching the show from afar, was very curious. She also wanted to see what other ultimate moves Gu Fei had not used. When she saw Gu Fei being tortured so miserably by Sacred Lord Void Sky's clone, she was extremely shocked. After all, Gu Fei was a true boundless realm existence. The snow demon True Body had a certain understanding of Gu Fei's cultivation and battle prowess. The snow demon True Body still didn't intend to make a move. Just now, she had very despicably escaped and let Gu Fei face Sacred Lord Void Sky's divine will incarnation alone. All right, as you wish. Gu Fei said word by word as he slowly stood up from the ground. Hee, it's just a struggle before death. Do you think you are stronger than Master? The limitless fire spirit said gloatingly. Immortal slaying finger! The aura on Gu Fei's body suddenly surged. In the next moment, he pointed out with his finger. An immortal finger light shot out from the tip of his finger and instantly pierced the limitless fire spirit's body. The limitless fire spirit's shock was no small matter. He couldn't dodge Gu Fei's finger at all, and a large hole was directly pierced through his chest. Damn it! The limitless fire spirit's figure became blurry. It was obvious that he had been injured by Gu Fei's finger. You can still maintain your form? Gu Fei was a little surprised. This guy was also very powerful. Even Gu Fei looked at the limitless fire spirit in a different light. Sky Ascension Secret Technique! Gu Fei roared, and a shocking aura erupted from his body. In an instant, the essence chi on his body soared to the limit, and then broke through the limit. Boom! Violent energy spread from Gu Fei's body. The area within a 100-mile radius around him suddenly became filled with sand and dust. The sun and moon lost their light. It was extremely terrifying. This is... Sacred Lord Void Sky's divine will clone couldn't help but change his expression when he sensed the energy coming from Gu Fei's body. Was this guy's trump card? Gu Fei's strength had multiplied, which surprised Sacred Lord Void Sky's divine will clone. He was a super old antique, but even he had never seen such a mystic art before. This was because it was very difficult to increase the combat power of an infinite prime. Even Sacred Lord Void Sky's divine will clone couldn't do it. Die! Gu Fei roared in anger and punched towards Sacred Lord Void Sky's divine will incarnation, and a powerful force exploded. Humph! Sacred Lord Void Sky's divine will clone sneered and also punched. The moment Sacred Lord Void Sky's divine will clone punched, Gu Fei's movements became slow again. Break for me! Gu Fei roared. In the next instant, an even stronger fist force exploded from Gu Fei's right fist. His slow movements suddenly disappeared. Bang! With a muffled sound, Gu Fei's fist landed on Sacred Lord Void Sky's divine will clone's chest. What? Sacred Lord Void Sky's divine will clone's eyes widened as he stared at the fist in front of his chest in disbelief. The everlasting fire spirit was also stunned by this scene. The snow demon True Body's jaw dropped in shock. Gu Fei had actually hit Sacred Lord Void Sky's divine will clone. How was this possible? At this moment, Gu Fei's fist force exploded. In the next instant, Sacred Lord Void Sky's divine will clone was sent flying hundreds of miles away. Sacred Lord Void Sky's divine will incarnation fell to the ground, rolled on the ground, and stumbled for a dozen miles. Everything in its path was smashed into pieces. This was really a reversal of fortune. He had just sent Gu Fei flying, but now, he was sent flying by Gu Fei. He was in a sorry state. Seeing this scene, everyone was flabbergasted. No one had expected Gu Fei's punch to be so powerful. It was actually able to put the divine will embodiment of Sacred Master Void Sky into such a sorry state. This is Gu Fei's trump card? The Snow Demon True Body's heart shook. At this moment, she realized that she had still underestimated Gu Fei. Gu Fei's Heaven Ascension Mystic Technique was a supreme mystic technique of the immortal Tao. At this moment, his cultivation had already broken through his limit. Even Sacred Lord Void Sky's Divine Will clone couldn't block Gu Fei's fist. Humph. Chapter 5388. In the eyes of Sacred Lord Void Sky's Divine Will Incarnation, Gu Fei and the Snow Demon True Body were just ants. However, he was sent flying by an ant with one punch. This made him furious. Boom! Boom! The void of Sacred Lord Void Sky's Divine Will Incarnation was shaking violently. The essence chi of the entire small world was gathering toward him. He was using the power of the entire small world for his own use. An extremely terrifying wave of energy exploded from his body. One after another, ancient and mysterious Tao patterns appeared on his body and circled around him. Little fella, angering me won't do you any good, Sacred Lord Void Sky's Divine Will Incarnation said indifferently. Che! Gu Fei directly pointed his middle finger at Sacred Lord Void Sky's Divine Will Incarnation. This fella is simply courting death. The limitless fire spirit saw that Gu Fei actually dared to point his middle finger at Sacred Lord Void Sky. No one had ever dared to do this in the past. Gu Fei! In the sky, the Snow Demon True Body stared at Gu Fei and Sacred Lord Void Sky's Divine Will Incarnation and clenched his fists. The Snow Demon True Body didn't think that Gu Fei would win. Again! Gu Fei roared and punched at Sacred Lord Void Sky's Divine Will Incarnation again. The violent fist force exploded, and the sky changed color. Sacred Master Void Sky's Spiritual Force Incarnation also punched out. When he punched out, the void in front of him immediately froze. Gu Fei's punch actually slowed down. What? He couldn't break this fella's move even after using the Heaven Ascension secret technique? The space-time around Gu Fei was controlled by Sacred Lord Void Sky's Divine Will Incarnation again. Sacred Lord Void Sky's Divine Will Incarnation had the upper hand again. Extreme Break! Gu Fei had no choice but to use his trump card. The power of Extreme Break exploded from his fist and directly broke the fist force of Sacred Lord Void Sky's Divine Will Incarnation. Bam! Without any suspense, Gu Fei's fist landed on the chest of Sacred Lord Void Sky's Spiritual Force clone. Damn it! Sacred Lord Void Sky's Divine Will Incarnation was extremely depressed. He couldn't control his body and was sent flying for another 100 miles. Then, he rolled on the ground for a few dozen miles before lying on the ground again. How is this possible? This time, the everlasting fire spirit and the Snow Yao True Body were both stunned. If luck was the reason why Gu Fei had sent Sacred Lord Void Sky's Divine Sense clone flying, then this second punch wasn't luck at all. Sacred Lord Void Sky's Divine Will Incarnation was a complete replica of what Gu Fei had just done. It had been beaten into a sorry state by Gu Fei. One hand refining the heavens! Sacred Lord Void Sky's Spiritual Will clone stood up from the ground and reached out with his right hand. In the next instant, the entire small world seemed to be grabbed by his hand. Great Heaven World-Destroying Palm! Gu Fei used the palm technique that he had obtained from the Great Heaven Emperor. The power of the world-destroying palm erupted from Gu Fei's right palm. The void trembled, and countless pitch-black spatial cracks appeared. Boom! The two palms instantly collided. In the next instant, two unimaginably powerful palms exploded. Gu Fei only felt an unstoppable force coming from his opponent's hand, causing him to fly backward involuntarily. He had also used the extreme breaking power in this palm strike, but even so, he still couldn't gain any advantage over his opponent. However, Sacred Lord Void Sky's Divine Will clone wasn't able to gain any advantage either. It was also sent flying by Gu Fei's palm strength. This was unbelievable to him. This fellow was actually able to fight evenly with him. Sacred Lord Void Sky's Divine Will clone couldn't accept such an outcome. He was an invincible Supreme Sacred Lord. No one had ever been able to put him in such a difficult position. Sacred Lord Void Sky was definitely an extremely powerful existence. Even in the limitless realm, he was a supreme existence. Who would dare to be impudent in front of him? The two palms collided and tangled together, turning into a destructive force that swept out in all directions. Everything in its path was destroyed. With the two of them at the center, the ground shattered and dust rose into the sky. Mountains were directly turned into dust by this mighty force and dissipated in the void. The entire small world was affected, and it seemed like it was about to collapse. This apocalyptic scene was shocking to the extreme. The snow demon's true body directly retreated into the distance to avoid it. The limitless fire spirit immediately fled into the fire god palace. The destructive force arrived, and the fire god palace was like a lonely boat in the raging sea. It was directly swept away. The limitless fire spirit hiding in the fire god palace was extremely terrified. The fire divine palace was directly swept away by the energy storm to who knows where, completely disappearing without a trace. Again! Gu Fei roared and attacked. It was the Great Sky World Annihilation Palm again. The power of the Great Sky World Annihilation was mighty and shook the earth. If this small world wasn't protected by the formation set up by Sacred Lord Void Sky's true body, who knew how many times it would have been destroyed? Boom! Another earth-shattering sound was heard. The entire world shook violently, and countless spatial cracks appeared in the world. The power of the formation protecting the small world was rapidly weakening. This was not a good thing for everyone in the small world. Because once this small world collapsed, everyone would be affected. No one could escape. Of course, with the cultivation of Gu Fei and the snow demon true body, even if the world collapsed, they still wouldn't die. However, being trapped in the chaotic void and unable to come out was also a very terrifying thing. At this time, Gu Fei used his full strength. The Ascension Secret Technique, and the power of breaking through the limit caused his battle power to soar to a level that even he himself was afraid of. However, Gu Fei was very clear that his battle power couldn't last long. Once the time was up, he would be beaten back to his original form. Once he was beaten back to his original form, he would be unlucky. Therefore, Gu Fei wanted to get rid of this divine will incarnation of Sacred Lord Void Sky within a limited time. I'll play with you. Sacred Lord Void Sky's incarnation of Divine Will also became ruthless and continuously clashed with Gu Fei. Unimaginably violent power kept exploding and destroying everything. These two guys. Snow Demon's true body stared at this scene and was shocked to the extreme. This level of power was not something she could contend with. When Gu Fei went crazy, it was really terrifying. This guy hid his strength too deeply. Perhaps only Sacred Lord Void Sky's incarnation of Divine Will could force Gu Fei to use his true strength. Snow Demon's true body actually didn't know that Gu Fei had used almost all of his trump cards. He had even used all of his trump cards. However, even so, Gu Fei was barely able to fight on par with Sacred Lord Void Sky's incarnation of Divine Will. Gu Fei was a little anxious. This couldn't go on. Once the time of the Ascension Secret Technique was up, he would immediately be beaten back to his original form. It seemed like he only had one choice. Chapter 5389. Gu Fei and Sacred Lord Void Sky's clone were evenly matched. The everlasting fire spirit and the snow demon true body were both shocked by this scene. However, only Gu Fei knew his own situation. He was only able to fight against Sacred Lord Void Sky's Divine Will clone by relying on the Ascension Secret Technique and the extreme breaking power. Sacred Lord Void Sky's Divine Will clone punched out again. This fellow had used the power of the entire small heaven and earth. The power of his punch was much stronger than before. When he punched out, space and time were under his control in an instant. Gu Fei couldn't dodge Sacred Lord Void Sky's Divine Will clone at all. This was because the fist technique of Sacred Lord Void Sky's Divine Will clone was simply too heaven-defying. In front of Sacred Lord Void Sky's Divine Will clone's fist, Gu Fei's entire body became slow. What could he do? Break for me! Gu Fei had no choice but to activate the extreme breaking power with all his might, causing his fist force to instantly break through his own limits. Then, his slowed-down movements returned to their original speed. However, he was still half a step too slow. Bam! Sacred Lord Void Sky's Divine Will clone's fist landed squarely on Gu Fei's chest. This made Gu Fei really depressed. Why did this fellow only attack one position? Without any suspense, Gu Fei was sent flying by Sacred Lord Void Sky's Divine Will clone again. He had no choice. His opponent's fist technique directly controlled the space and time around him. Moreover, the power of the entire small heaven and earth was being used by this fellow. This was Sacred Lord Void Sky's method of increasing his combat strength. Although it was simple and direct, it was very useful. Even Gu Fei knew how to use the power of heaven and earth. However, there was probably no one in history who could cultivate this mystic art to Sacred Lord Void Sky's level. The fist technique created by Sacred Lord Void Sky was simply invincible. This fist technique displayed the power of time, space, and heaven and earth to the extreme. It was not impossible to break through the laws of time and space, and the method was very simple. However, knowing the method was one thing, being able to do it was another thing. At this moment, Gu Fei was sent flying another 100 miles by Sacred Master Void Sky's Divine Sense incarnation. He rolled on the ground for another dozen or so miles before finally lying on the ground with his face covered in dirt. It had been a long time since he had been beaten so badly, especially in the Void Realm. Ever since Gu Fei had come to the Void Realm, he had never been in such a sorry state. Even when Limitless Demon had appeared, he had only retreated. Even the Limitless Demon King wouldn't be able to put him in such a difficult position. But now, Sacred Master Su Tian's Divine Will incarnation was so strong. Just one incarnation was enough to put him in such a sorry state. Although he had an extremely strong martial body, he was still being abused. It was hard to imagine just how powerful Sacred Master Void Sky's main body was. Just one incarnation was enough to beat Gu Fei, who was a true infinite power. One had to know that Gu Fei wasn't an ordinary infinite power expert. He was a martialist who had defied the heavens and achieved the infinite Tao fruit. Martialists were inherently stronger than other cultivators of the same level. So what if you have a secret technique to increase your combat strength? You are still no match for me. Sacred Master Void Sky's Divine Will incarnation took a step forward and instantly appeared in front of Gu Fei. It then looked down at him with disdain. In this place he was the master. Everything here was created by him, so he could use the power here as he pleased. Even a true infinite power would have to lower their head in this place. No one had ever been able to defeat Sacred Master Void Sky in his territory, and no one had ever been able to not lower their head in his territory. In the eyes of Sacred Master Void Sky's Divine Will incarnation, all living beings that entered this place would only have one fate, their life and death. Damn it, your power is this world? At this moment, Gu Fei also saw the problem. It seemed like he had underestimated this fellow. This fellow had fused himself with this world, and all the power in this small world belonged to this fellow. This was a powerful force left behind by the true Sacred Master Void Sky. His battle with Sacred Master Void Sky's Divine Will incarnation was no different from Sacred Master Void Sky's true body. How could he possibly defeat Sacred Master Void Sky's true body? Sacred Master Void Sky's Divine Will incarnation was definitely the strongest opponent that Gu Fei had ever encountered in his life. This is bad. The Snow Demon's true body couldn't help but feel nervous when she saw this scene. She didn't want to become someone's prisoner or slave. However, Sacred Master Void Sky's divine will incarnation was so powerful that even if she teamed up with Gu Fei, they probably wouldn't be able to change anything. However, there was no time for the Snow Demon's true body to think too much. She could either fight to the death or submit to this fellow. However, it was impossible for the Snow Demon's true body to submit. She could only fight. Boom! In the next moment, a shocking force erupted from the Snow Demon's true body, and the temperature of the entire small world plummeted. An extremely cold aura instantly spread out and shrouded the entire small world. The entire small world seemed to be frozen. Ice and snow appeared everywhere, and the entire small world suddenly became a world of ice and snow. Hee hee, you finally can't help but make a move? The Wuji divine flame in the distance said sarcastically when it saw this scene. So what if you make a move? How can a small firefly compete with Master's divine sun in the sky? The Wuji divine flame sneered. Shut up. The Snow Demon's true body was enraged, and it roared at the Wuji divine flame. TSK, I won't shut up. What can you do to me? The Wuji divine flame wasn't afraid of the Snow Demon's true body at all. This was because it now had its Master's divine will incarnation as its backer. This backer was stronger than anyone else. With such a powerful backer, who would the Wuji divine flame be afraid of? At this moment, Gu Fei slowly stood up from the ground, and an unprecedentedly powerful wave of essence chi erupted from his body. I didn't expect you to have a backup plan. The divine will incarnation of Sacred Master Void Sky was very surprised. Gu Fei's combat strength still had room for improvement, and he couldn't help but be moved. Almost at the same time, Gu Fei and the Snow Demon's true body disappeared on the spot. Boom! With a loud sound, Gu Fei and the Snow Demon's true body appeared on the left and right of the divine will incarnation of Sacred Master Void Sky. The divine will incarnation of Sacred Master Void Sky stretched out its hands and actually blocked the fists of Gu Fei and the Snow Demon's true body. Roar! The divine will incarnation of Sacred Master Void Sky let out a roar. His body shook violently, and he exerted force with his hands. Gu Fei and the Snow Demon's true body couldn't help but take a dozen steps back. Not only did he block the combined attack of Gu Fei and the Snow Demon's true body with his own strength, but he also forced them back. This combat strength shocked Gu Fei and the Snow Demon's true body. Chapter 5390. The Snow Demon true body finally couldn't help but make a move. If Gu Fei was defeated by Sacred Master Void Sky's spiritual will clone, she would be next. Therefore, she had to team up with Gu Fei even if she didn't want to. The three silhouettes were moving quickly within the pocket dimension. They were extremely fast, and the power that erupted from each silhouette shook the entire pocket dimension. In the void of the small world, hideous and terrifying spatial cracks appeared one after another. So what if the two of you team up? Sacred Master Void Sky's spiritual will clone laughed coldly as she attacked. Countless palm shadows appeared in the void, and shocking collisions sounded continuously. The void exploded, and destructive power spread out. The entire small world seemed like it was going to collapse. Gu Fei didn't say anything. He punched out again and again. The powerful fist force exploded, and the 5 elemental fist force intertwined. His fist force soared to the limit. The Snow Demon true body was shrouded in cold air. Her jade-like hand slapped towards Sacred Lord Void Sky's spiritual sense incarnation. Sacred Lord Void Sky's spiritual sense incarnation couldn't dodge in time, and both his legs were frozen. Humph! Sacred Master Void Sky's spiritual will clone laughed coldly. Then, a powerful force exploded from his body and directly shattered the ice on his legs. However, Gu Fei's fist had already smashed into his back. Bam! Sacred Master Void Sky's spiritual will clone was directly blown away by Gu Fei's punch. Damn it! Sacred Master Void Sky's spiritual will clone landed on the ground, causing dust to fly everywhere. You are only SOSO! Gu Fei pointed his middle finger at Sacred Master Void Sky's spiritual will clone. Swish! In the next moment, Sacred Master Void Sky's spiritual will clone suddenly appeared in front of Gu Fei and sent Gu Fei flying with a punch. You dared to look down on me? No one has ever dared to look down on me. Sacred Master Void Sky's spiritual will clone was filled with killing intent. I seal! At this moment, the snow demon true body descended from the sky. An extremely cold power descended from the sky and directly enveloped Sacred Master Void Sky's spiritual will clone. In just an instant, Sacred Lord Void Sky's spiritual force incarnation had turned into an ice sculpture. Kill! The snow demon's true body ruthlessly punched the ice sculpture. Boom! With a loud explosion, the ice sculpture formed by Sacred Lord Void Sky's spiritual sense exploded. Did you kill him? Gu Fei rushed over from the distance. Seeing this scene, he couldn't help being shocked. This snow demon's true form was extremely powerful. Its extreme cold energy could practically freeze everything. Even Sacred Master Void Sky's divine will incarnation had been frozen by her. The snow demon true body destroyed the frozen Sacred Master Void Sky's divine sense incarnation with a single punch. This, the Wuji fire spirit, who saw this scene from afar, was almost scared out of his wits. If his master was defeated by these two fellows, he would also suffer. However, Gu Fei's expression suddenly turned solemn. Streams of purple chi rushed out from the ground and gathered together. In the next moment, a figure appeared in front of Gu Fei and the snow demon's true form. Gu Fei and the snow demon's true form both stared at this figure. You guys still can't do it! Sacred Master Void Sky's divine will incarnation glanced at Gu Fei and the snow demon's true form and sneered. You dare to say that I can't do it? Enraged, Gu Fei charged forward once more. Rumble! The 5 elemental fist force exploded from Gu Fei's fist, shaking the heavens and earth. The snow demon's true form also attacked. A terrifying cold energy exploded from the hands of the snow demon's true form and froze everything. At this moment, the Wuji fire spirit had already hidden far away. Even an infinite power like it couldn't interfere in a battle of this level. Muffled collisions sounded continuously. Gu Fei and the snow demon's true form were continuously sent flying by Sacred Master Void Sky's divine will incarnation. However, they immediately attacked again. This battle was really satisfying. Gu Fei had used almost all of his trump cards, but he still couldn't defeat this fellow. The snow demon's true form was vast and mighty, and the surrounding void was shaking as if it couldn't contain his powerful martial body. Bam! Bam! Gu Fei's fist landed on the chest of Sacred Master Void Sky's divine will incarnation. However, at the same time, Sacred Master Void Sky's divine will incarnation's fist also landed on his body. The two figures were sent flying back at the same time. Swoosh! When Sacred Master Void Sky's divine will incarnation was sent flying, the snow demon's true form made its move. A layer of transparent ice appeared on Sacred Master Void Sky's divine will incarnation. He was sealed by the snow demon's true form again. Slash! Gu Fei took advantage of this opportunity to use one of the 9 secrets of the Immortal Tao, the Primordial Spirit Tao Sword secret technique. A moment later, a beam of primordial spirit light shot out from his forehead and turned into a sharp sword shadow. It instantly slashed at the divine will incarnation, which was sealed by Sacred Master Void Sky. The sword shadow directly penetrated the ice on Sacred Master Void Sky's divine will incarnation and pierced right through it. Boom! The ice on Sacred Master Void Sky's divine will incarnation instantly exploded. Sacred Master Void Sky's divine will incarnation actually became faint and illusory. You! Sacred Master Void Sky's divine will incarnation revealed a terrified expression for the first time. His aura actually became much weaker. Gu Fei's sword had finally injured this fellow. Again! When Gu Fei saw this, he immediately charged over from afar. A divine eye seemed to have appeared between his eyebrows. Rays of primordial spirit light shot out from between his eyebrows, turning into sword shadows that pierced through Sacred Master Su Tian's divine will incarnation. The primordial spirit Tao sword secret technique, one of the 9 secrets of the immortal Tao, was the nemesis of all divine will incarnations and primordial spirit clones. As long as one was hit by this primordial spirit Tao sword, one's soul would definitely be destroyed. However, what shocked Gu Fei was that Sacred Master Void Sky's divine will incarnation actually wasn't destroyed after being hit by his sword. Only his figure became slightly illusory. What? Sacred Master Void Sky's divine will incarnation was shocked. How would he dare to let these sword lights get close to him? Sacred Master Void Sky's hands spun in front of him, and the primordial spirit sword lights that pierced through from all directions were all sucked in by a powerful devouring force in front of him. Countless primordial spirit sword lights gathered in front of Sacred Master Void Sky's body and turned into a ball of light. Sacred Master Void Sky's divine will incarnation revolved his hands and pushed the ball of light formed by the power of his primordial spirit toward Gu Fei. Gu Fei didn't dodge at all. He allowed the ball of light to hit his body. The instant the ball of light hit his body, it entered his body and was devoured by him. At this moment, light shot out of his eyes, and he attacked Sacred Master Void Sky's divine will incarnation with all his might. Even Sacred Master Void Sky's divine will incarnation was flustered by Gu Fei's fierce attack. Chapter 5391. The battle continued in Sacred Lord Void Sky's little world. The sword light that shot out from Gu Fei's forehead pierced through the void and lit up the sky. Sword chi flew everywhere, but Sacred Lord Void Sky's spiritual will clone was trying its best to dodge. It didn't dare to let the sword chi touch it because it had met its nemesis. Although the spiritual will clone left behind by Sacred Lord Void Sky was extremely strong, Gu Fei's secret technique specialized in restraining primordial spirits. As long as it was hit by Gu Fei's primordial spirit Tao sword, even Sacred Lord Void Sky's spiritual will clone would be severely injured. If it was hit by Gu Fei's primordial spirit Tao sword, Sacred Lord Void Sky's spiritual will clone would probably dissipate. Sacred Lord Void Sky's spiritual will clone was moving rapidly in the void. Countless afterimages of Sacred Lord Void Sky's spiritual will clone appeared in the void. Gu Fei's primordial spirit Tao sword pierced through these afterimages, but it was unable to pierce through Sacred Lord Void Sky's spiritual will clone. While Gu Fei was attacking, the snow demon true body wasn't idle either. Her cold aura permeated every nook and cranny. Even Sacred Lord Void Sky's spiritual will clone was covered in frost. At this time, the snow demon true body was no longer able to freeze Sacred Lord Void Sky's spiritual will clone. However, Sacred Lord Void Sky's movement and speed were affected by the cold aura. Sacred Lord Void Sky's spiritual will clone was affected by the cold aura of the snow demon true body and paused for a moment. Although it was only for a moment, it was enough. Swish! A primordial spirit sword light brushed past the left cheek of Sacred Lord Void Sky's spiritual will clone. A bloody mark immediately appeared on the left cheek of Sacred Lord Void Sky's spiritual will clone. Sacred Lord Void Sky's spiritual will clone was extremely shocked. He was a spiritual will clone and didn't have a physical body. However, his opponent was able to leave a wound on his body. This had never happened before. Spiritual will clones couldn't be injured or bleed. However, Sacred Lord Void Sky's spiritual will clone was injured and bleeding. What kind of mystic art is this? Sacred Lord Void Sky's spiritual will clone was extremely shocked. Gu Fei's technique was simply too heaven-defying. It was able to make Sacred Lord Void Sky's divine sense incarnation feel pain. How was this possible? Take a guess? Gu Fei smiled. Primordial soul sword lights continued to shoot out from his glabella. These sword lights followed Sacred Master Su Tian's divine will incarnation like a shadow. Sacred Lord Void Sky's spiritual force incarnation kept flashing in the void and dodged all the sword lights that pierced towards him. However, these sword lights didn't disappear. Instead, they flashed continuously in the void and attacked Sacred Lord Su Tian's divine will clone from all directions. Gu Fei's primordial soul sword light surrounded Sacred Lord Void Sky's divine will incarnation. All of his paths of retreat were sealed. You're still not dead this time? Gu Fei was going all out. Even with his cultivation, he was struggling to hold on. Moreover, the time limit for his ascension secret technique was almost up. If Gu Fei couldn't get rid of Sacred Master Su Tian's divine will embodiment within the time it took for the ascension mystic technique to be executed, he and Shui Yao would be in deep trouble. I seal! Shui Yao's true body didn't hold back at all. She attacked with all her might. An extremely cold force erupted from her hands and directly sealed the void around Sacred Master Su Tian's primordial soul sword light. This way, Sacred Master Su Tian's divine will incarnation would find it even harder to escape from Gu Fei's primordial soul sword light. Countless sword lights gathered and instantly minced Sacred Master Su Tian's primordial soul sword light into countless pieces. What? The Wuji fire spirit, who saw this scene from afar, was shocked. The divine will incarnation left behind by its master was destroyed just like that. This is bad. The Wuji fire spirit wanted to escape. Even its master's divine will incarnation had been killed by these two fellows. How would it dare to stay here? Just as the Wuji fire spirit was about to escape, Gu Fei suddenly looked up into the sky. High up in the sky, a cloud of chi had appeared out of nowhere. This cloud was surging rapidly. Very soon, a figure appeared in the sky. If this person wasn't Sacred Master Su Tian's divine will incarnation, who else could it be? This is ridiculous. How is this possible? Gu Fei was a little stunned. However, he could sense that Sacred Master Su Tian's divine will incarnation was already very weak. What made Gu Fei in disbelief was that Sacred Master Su Tian's divine will incarnation was so strong. It had been slashed by his primordial soul sword light countless times, but it still hadn't been destroyed. The divine will incarnation left behind by Sacred Master Su Tian was really too strong. Before this, Gu Fei had never seen such a strong divine will incarnation. Moreover, Gu Fei didn't expect a divine will incarnation to be so strong. You want to kill me? Sacred Master Su Tian's divine will incarnation sneered. Kill! The snow demon true body roared angrily and directly attacked Sacred Master Su Tian's divine will incarnation. An extremely sharp and cold sword light rushed out of her hands. Buzz! The sword hummed and the sky changed color. The snow demon true body sword Dao cultivation was actually so strong. This was something that even Gu Fei didn't expect. Why did stronger existences all like to cultivate the sword Dao? Gu Fei also cultivated the sword Dao. However, the sword Dao was just one of the 9 great Daos that he cultivated. It wasn't considered much. However, the snow demon true body sword Dao didn't seem to be weaker than the limitless sword master. If these two met, there would probably be a good show to watch. Gu Fei thought about the limitless sword master that Yu Xian and the Ling Tian Palace master had fused together. That was an infinite stage supreme sword master. However, this snow demon true body was also an infinite stage existence. You think you can kill me? Sacred Master Su Tian's divine will incarnation punched out with her right hand. Boom! With a loud explosion, the snow demon true body's sword light completely shattered in the void. The snow demon true body was sent flying, and a trace of blood seeped out of the corner of her mouth. So strong! Only now did the snow demon true body realize how strong Sacred Master Su Tian's divine will incarnation was. It seems like I have no choice but to use my true trump card. As Gu Fei spoke, his entire body turned into an immortal sword light. This sword light erupted with an unprecedentedly strong wave of sword chi. Swish! The sword light flashed by, and Sacred Master Su Tian's divine will incarnation was directly split in half. You! A weak wave of divine will came from Sacred Master Su Tian's divine will incarnation. Then, the divine will incarnation of Sacred Master Su Tian, which had been split in half by Gu Fei's sword, dissipated in the void and completely disappeared. Gu Fei's figure appeared in the void. He staggered and almost fell from the sky. He had used all the power in his body to form a primordial soul Dao sword. This sword was also the strongest sword that Gu Fei had executed after he cultivated the primordial Soul Dao sword. Before this, Gu Fei had never executed such a powerful sword. Chapter 5392. Sacred Master Void Sky's spiritual sense incarnation was finally destroyed by Gu Fei's sword. The Wuji fire spirit was stunned when it saw its master's spiritual sense incarnation disappear. It couldn't speak for a long time. The snow demon's true body was also shocked. She realized that she had underestimated Gu Fei. Gu Fei's mystique was simply the nemesis of all living creatures. One had to know that once one's primordial spirit was destroyed, even the strongest living creature would become a walking corpse. Even if one's physical body was still alive, it would just be a shell. The snow demon's true body couldn't help but be a little afraid of Gu Fei. At this moment, the powerful aura on Gu Fei's body was rapidly weakening. Very soon, the extremely overbearing and powerful aura on his body disappeared without a trace, as if it had never appeared in the first place. Gu Fei retracted all the aura on his body. Even the snow demon's true body couldn't sense his aura. The snow demon's true body's expression became somewhat solemn. This fella had many secrets. The mystique he was proficient in was also a mystique that she had never seen before. At this moment, the snow demon's true body was not only a little afraid of Gu Fei, but she was also very curious about Gu Fei's background. She wanted to know more about this fella. However, if Gu Fei didn't say anything, who would know his background in this void realm? Why aren't you coming to greet your new master? Gu Fei suddenly turned around and said to the Wuji fire spirit. What? The Wuji fire spirit was shocked and angry. Even its master's spiritual sense incarnation was destroyed by this human. How could it be a match for this fella? Master, little fire greets master. The Wuji fire spirit quivered and directly rushed in front of Gu Fei. It directly knelt at Gu Fei's feet and trembled. That's more like it, Gu Fei said proudly as he looked up at the clouds with his hands behind his back. This fella. The snow demon true body looked at Gu Fei, but was somewhat disapproving. If Gu Fei subdued the limitless fire spirit, then he would not be able to cultivate his ice and fire great technique. The fusion of ice and fire could allow the cultivation of the snow demon true body to reach a higher level. But now that Gu Fei had become the owner of the limitless fire spirit, she couldn't attack it anymore. Become my servant. Your life and death are in my hands. After saying that, Gu Fei formed a seal with both hands and directly sent a seal into the limitless fire spirit's body. This was a secret technique that Gu Fei used to control the life and death of the limitless fire spirit. The life and death of the limitless fire spirit were in his hands. The limitless fire spirit was shocked, but there was nothing it could do. In fact, it already knew that Gu Fei would not let it go so easily. Get up! Gu Fei said proudly. Killing Sacred Lord Void Sky's divine sense clone and making the everlasting fire spirit yield made him feel proud. I've planted a restriction on your body. Your life and death are in my hands, Gu Fei said slowly. Master, Hearing this, the limitless fire spirit trembled even more. Its life and death were in someone else's hands. This feeling made the limitless fire spirit extremely depressed. The limitless fire spirit stood up, feeling nervous. Do things well for me and I will guarantee that you will live longer than anyone else. You won't be able to die even if you want to, Gu Fei said calmly. The limitless fire spirit was speechless. This time, it was probably going to be this guy's servant for the rest of its life. Gu Fei, can you ask this guy to give me a strand of fire elemental chi? The snow demon true body said to Gu Fei. You want his fire elemental chi? Gu Fei couldn't help but be startled. Did this guy really want to fuse ice and fire to increase his cultivation? He was just saying it before. This method could indeed increase the snow demon true body's cultivation, but it didn't mean that there was no danger. If the snow demon true body couldn't fuse ice and fire, then she would be in danger of being destroyed. Going berserk was no joke. That's right, I hope you can help me. The snow demon true body nodded solemnly. And Gu Fei pondered for a moment, then nodded and said, All right, you can give him a strand of fire elemental chi. This, although the limitless fire spirit was unwilling, since his master had spoken, he didn't dare to say no. So, he could only extend his right hand. A ball of fire rushed out from his right hand and directly turned into a fist-sized fireball. This fireball emitted a strong fluctuation of fire elemental chi. The snow demon true body stared at the fireball in the limitless fire spirit's hand and his eyes immediately lit up. Here you go! The limitless fire spirit waved his right hand and the fireball immediately flew towards the snow demon true body. The snow demon true body was overjoyed. He carefully took the divine fire and then sealed it. At this time, he didn't have time to refine this divine fire. Sacred Lord Void Sky's seclusion little world wasn't very small, but after the battle just now, this little world was pretty much destroyed. Only the Fire God Palace was intact. You lack a body. As Gu Fei spoke, a black shadow immediately appeared beside him. It was a young man in black who looked exactly like Gu Fei. This young man in black was the Connate Stone Man that Gu Fei obtained in the Fallen Star Mountain range. The Connate Stone Man was refined into a clone by Gu Fei. Gu Fei directly withdrew the divine sense from the Connate Stone Man. The moment Gu Fei withdrew his divine sense, the Connate Stone Man's eyes became empty and lifeless. This is... The limitless fire spirit looked at the Connate Stone Man, and then at Gu Fei. What are you looking at? I'll give it to you. Gu Fei casually waved his hand and said, Give it to me? The limitless fire spirit was surprised and happy. He was a fire spirit, and just happened to lack a body. Right now, he only had a body formed by flames. This is yours. Gu Fei nodded and said. The limitless fire spirit was overjoyed when he heard this. In the next moment, he directly turned into a flame and rushed into the body of the young man in black. In the next moment, the young man's lifeless eyes regained their luster. Thank you, Master! The limitless fire spirit knelt and bowed to Gu Fei. In the future, just do your best to do things for me, Gu Fei said. If Master has any orders, this subordinate will die 10,000 times. The limitless fire spirit said loudly. Very good! Gu Fei nodded. You guys go out first. Gu Fei looked around and said, Yes, Master! The limitless fire spirit had no objections and directly opened the door to enter and exit the small world. The limitless fire spirit brought the snow demon true body out of the small world. As for Gu Fei, he used all his strength to circulate the mysterious technique. He wanted to refine this small world into his inner world and make it more perfect. Rumble! The entire small world shook violently. In the next moment, the small world quickly became smaller. In just an instant, Gu Fei felt the surrounding void change and he was in chaos. The small world landed on Gu Fei's right hand. Soon, this small world was devoured by Gu Fei's body. After keeping the small world, he directly returned to the void world. At this time, he had already swallowed the small world left by Sacred Master Void Sky twice. This way, his inner world would become more perfect. Master, you're finally back. When Man Kuang saw Gu Fei, he couldn't help but be surprised and happy. At this time, the snow demon true body stood together with the nine-tailed fox emperor. Yes, it's time. Gu Fei and the others directly left the small world utopia. The small world utopia was handed over to Man Kuang to manage. With Gu Fei's current cultivation, it was not an easy task to take away the small world utopia. This small world utopia was many times bigger than the small world that Sacred Master Void Sky cultivated in. This kind of small world utopia had the opportunity to transform into an invincible existence like the Nine Heavens True Dragon. But now, Gu Fei was thinking about how to return to the heavenly realm and human realm. The copper door of heaven and earth was simply a joke. There was nothing behind the door, only a small world. To Gu Fei, this was simply a joke. The undying world was just a rumor. Now, the snow demon true body placed her hopes on Gu Fei. She really yearned for the limitless realm. The biggest secret of the culmination snow mountain was the secret of the copper door of heaven and earth. Now that the secret of the copper door of heaven and earth had been solved, Gu Fei was about to leave. This time, he entered the culmination snow mountain with the shaman emperor. Apart from sacred master void skies things, they did not obtain anything good. However, when they left the mountain, they had the limitless fire spirit, the snow demon true body, the shaman emperor, the flying tiger emperor, and the mysterious snake emperor. At this time, Gu Fei's forces finally stabilized the southern barbarians. The entire southern barbarians fell under Gu Fei's control. He became the true ruler of the southern barbarians. With the southern barbarians as his base, Gu Fei began to plan to attack other regions. Chapter 5393. Gu Fei left Culmination Snow Mountain and returned to Southern Barbarian. At this time, under the governance of Xiaoye and Long Xiaozhou, the chaotic state of Southern Barbarian had ended, and everything had become orderly. No one dared to court death in the entire Southern Barbarian. Even the sorcerer tribe had completely surrendered to Gu Fei. Gu Fei entered the Southern Barbarian royal capital with Man Kuang. Xiaoye and Long Xiaozhou led a group of vassal kings to welcome them and respectfully welcomed Gu Fei into the barbarian royal palace. The limitless fire spirit and the limitless weapon soul were taken into Gu Fei's inner world. This was his trump card. The sorcerer emperor also returned to Southern Barbarian with the nine-tailed demon fox emperor, but she did not return to the sorcerer tribe. Instead, she disappeared again. No one knew where she went. Even the heaven shaman priest Wu Lingxue could not find her. As for the snow demon true body, she did not leave Culmination Snow Mountain because she needed to prepare a lot of things to leave Culmination Snow Mountain. Most importantly, after the snow demon true body obtained the limitless fire spirit's primordial qi, she began to cultivate in seclusion. She wanted to cultivate the Tao of ice and fire, and only leave Culmination Snow Mountain after her cultivation improved greatly. At that time, she would find Gu Fei to practice. On the third day after Gu Fei returned to Southern Barbarian, the vassal kings under him began to take action. The drama of Gu Fei's conquest of the world finally began. He personally led an army of 1,000,000 and charged into the Zhongtian Empire. Everywhere he passed, the various powers of the Zhongtian Empire surrendered, and countless powerhouses submitted to him. After the limitless fire spirit obtained Gu Fei's innate stone man avatar, this guy had a body. This guy was very proud. He volunteered to ask Gu Fei for the position of a vanguard general. With 3,000 fire god army, he killed the experts of the major forces in Culmination. Culmination Buddha clan was the first super force to surrender to Gu Fei. The 7 Buddha supremes were extremely depressed. They never thought that Gu Fei's ambition was so great. Gu Fei actually wanted to conquer the entire void sky. How was this possible? Since ancient times, no one had ever been able to conquer the entire void realm. Not even the celestial race, not even the towering heaven palace. The Lingtian Palace was the #1 faction in the void realm. Even the palace master of the Lingtian Palace, who was known to be invincible in the void realm, could not conquer the entire void realm. Could Gu Fei do it? Gu Fei sent his army to the sky, shocking the whole world. Lin Xiaotian and Dong Wang, who were hiding from Gu Fei's men, were even more shocked when they heard the news. It seemed that they would never be able to take revenge on Gu Fei in their lives. At this time, Gu Fei had many experts under him. After that, the Celestial clan also submitted, and the Celestial clan's primogenitor, Yu Xian'er, became Gu Fei's disciple. When the news spread, the world was shocked. In fact, what the world didn't know was that Yu Xian'er had already taken Gu Fei as her master. It was just that this matter hadn't been spread out, and not many people knew about it. But now that the news had spread, it shook the entire void cultivation world. How is this possible? The Celestial clan's primogenitor. Yu Xian'er was definitely one of the longest living experts in the entire void realm. No one would have thought that Yuxian would take Gu Fei as her master. With the submission of the Buddha race, the entire Zhongtian came under Gu Fei's control. After a short rest, Gu Fei used the sky as his base camp and marched to other regions. At this time, everyone knew what Gu Fei was doing. This guy actually wanted to conquer the entire Void Realm. This guy was really crazy. Gu Fei wanted to accomplish a feat that no one had ever done before. Soon, the West Sea Dragon clan announced their alliance with Gu Fei, followed by the East Wilderness. The Eastern Wilderness Demon clan was really powerful, but so what? Now Gu Fei was a real infinite prime. In the Void Realm, he was the strongest existence. Boom! Eastern Wilderness, Dongyang City. The Grand Witch King was extremely depressed. He had been surrounded by the armies of the Eastern Wilderness' 4 great forces. He couldn't escape even if he wanted to. The Black Tortoise clan, the Vermilion Bird clan, the Fire Unicorn clan, and the Dragon clan's leaders were all gathered in an important place in the Eastern Wilderness. This was where the ancestral vein of the Eastern Wilderness was located. It was surrounded by mountains, and each mountain ridge was like a huge dragon whining on the ground. Here, there were 9 huge mountain ridges coiled on the ground. Such a terrain could not even be seen in the sky of the Void Realm. This was a supreme divine land where the chi of the 9 dragons gathered. This was a treasured land formed by heaven and earth. And here hid the greatest secret of the Eastern Wilderness Demon clan. Right in the center of the ancestral land of the 9 dragons, there were 9 small hills. These were the heads of the 9 dragon veins, and each dragon head faced a huge altar in the center. At this moment, 5 figures stood in 5 different directions on the ancient altar. To the west was the ancestor of the Black Tortoise clan, while to the east was a member of the Phoenix clan. The Phoenix clan had almost been wiped out by Gu Fei, and almost all of their experts had died in battle. The expert of the Phoenix clan who had appeared on the altar was only a god king. Moreover, the god king of the Phoenix clan was a fish that had escaped the net. When Gu Fei attacked the Phoenix clan back then, this guy just happened to be out, so he had escaped. What are you waiting for? Awaken the ancestor and avenge our clan! The Phoenix clan expert roared furiously. He directly stabbed the dagger in his hand into his heart, and pulled it out. A stream of heart blood immediately rushed out from his chest and landed directly on the altar. In the next moment, the divine king of the Phoenix clan became extremely pale. He tottered, as if all of his vitality had been sucked out. The divine king of the Phoenix clan did not die. Any other living being would definitely die from such an injury, but divine kings could survive even if their hearts were pierced. In the distance, a figure stood on the clouds and watched the scene quietly. All right. On the altar, the Phyrecolin ancestor clenched his teeth and cut his finger. A drop of essence blood flew out and landed on the altar. The divine king of the Phoenix clan was dumbfounded. I want to use my heart's blood, but you're only using a drop of blood from your finger? What are you looking at? How can my blood compare to your heart's blood? The Phyrecolin ancestor said disapprovingly. The Phyrecolin ancestor was an Emperor realm existence. A drop of blood from his finger was incomparable to the divine king of the Phoenix clan's heart's blood. The ancestors of the other 3 clans also cut their fingers and squeezed out a drop of blood from their fingertips. The essence blood of the 5 great monstrous clans gathered together, and was absorbed by the altar. The entire ancient altar seemed to have come to life, bursting with powerful energy ripples. One after another, ancient runes lit up on the ancient altar. Great power was condensing, and the sky above the altar changed color. The sun and moon dimmed, and the entire world darkened. Chapter 5394. Gu Fei wanted to conquer the entire Void Realm. He wanted to be the Realm Lord of the Void Realm. No one knew the situation in the Limitless Realm. Gu Fei wanted to pave a way for himself. He wanted to conquer the Void Realm and make it his base camp to march into the Limitless Realm. The legendary ultimate world without life and death was Gu Fei's ultimate goal. He had to go and take a look at the Limitless Realm. However, without any capital, even if he entered the Limitless Realm, he wouldn't have much confidence. Therefore, Gu Fei was accumulating capital. With the entire Void Realm as his backing, he didn't believe that he couldn't make a name for himself in the limitless realm. Gu Fei's heart was burning with ambition. At this moment, he was standing on the clouds in the sky, looking at the changing weather in front of him. I didn't expect there to be such a place in the eastern wilderness, Gu Fei murmured to himself. His array Dao cultivation was not bad, so he could tell that this place was unusual at a glance. The place where the 9 dragons converged. The essence of the 9 earth veins dragons was gathering in one place. That place was the core of the 9 dragons' earth veins. It was also the legendary Supreme Dragon Cave, the ancestral cave of the 9 dragons. In the ancestral cave of the 9 dragons, there was a chance for the 9 true dragons to be born. However, it was a pity that this dragon cave was being used by someone. To be more precise, it was being used by a mysterious demon ancestor of the Eastern Wilderness Demon Clan. In fact, this was the ancestral land of the Eastern Wilderness Dragon Clan. An ancient altar stood on top of the ancestral cave of the 9 dragons, directly stabilizing the 9 dragons' ancestral cave. At this moment, the essence of the 5 demon clans in the Eastern Wilderness activated this ancient altar. It was unknown how long this ancient altar had existed, but it was certain that this altar had not been activated for a long time. Once this ancient altar was activated, the weather changed, the sun and the moon dimmed, and the essence of the 9 dragon-shaped earth veins was continuously absorbed by the altar. Rumble! The entire ancestral cave of the 9 dragons was shaking. Rays of starlight fell from the sky, and when these starlight landed on the altar, they were also absorbed by the altar, swallowing the heavens and earth. Interesting. Far up in the sky, Gu Fei couldn't help but be moved when he saw this. The formation here was truly heaven-defying. It could even attract the power of the stars. At that moment, Gu Fei sensed that all the spiritual qi in the eastern wilderness had been activated. This power was unimaginably strong. Is the legendary demon ancestor really that powerful? Gu Fei was looking forward to it. At this moment, within the mirage, the limitless Devil Lord was hiding in his devil domain and not coming out. Ling Tian Palace Master wasn't a match for him. Of course, if Ling Tian Palace Master and Yu Xian were to fuse into the limitless Sword Master, they could still pose a threat to Gu Fei. At the same time, the Eastern Barren Territories demons were about to awaken their ancestors. Gu Fei was just worrying about not having an opponent, so he hoped that the demon ancestor of the Eastern Wilderness would not disappoint him. Even Gu Fei was tempted by the power gathered by this altar. However, he did not stop the altar from absorbing the spiritual energy of heaven and earth. As for Ancestor Firekalin and the others, they couldn't sense Gu Fei's presence at all. Master, why aren't you making a move? A person standing behind Gu Fei couldn't help but ask. This person was an intelligent and quick-witted little girl in white. She was Xiaoya. When Gu Fei came to the 9 dragons' ancestral land, he only brought Xiaoya with him. Long Xiaozhou was leading an army to fight against the Eastern Barren Demon Race's army. Long Xiaozhou wanted to save Dongyang City. However, the Eastern Barren Demon Race's army was incomparably strong. It was impossible to save Dongyang City in a short period of time. Outside Dongyang City, battle cries shook the heavens. The ground was densely packed with the figures of humans and demons. High up in the sky, powerful yuan qi fluctuated. Powerful figures were moving rapidly in the void as they fought fiercely. Survival of the fittest. This was the most basic law of heaven and earth. Corpses constantly fell from the sky, and all of them were at least Divine King realm. In the eyes of ordinary people, Divine Kings were high and mighty, overlooking the common people. However, in this battlefield, Divine Kings were very weak and could be killed at any time. And the Emperor Realm experts hadn't made a move yet. In the southern part of Dongyang City, Buddha light soared into the sky. 7 Buddha sovereigns were confronting a demon emperor. The demon emperor was blocking 7 Buddha sovereigns by himself. It was likely there was no one else in the entire eastern wasteland that had this kind of courage. Longzun, a wise man, submits to circumstances. The outcome of this battle has already been decided. What's the point of struggling? The heavenly Buddha Supreme had a compassionate look on his face as he spoke to the burly middle-aged man opposite him. This middle-aged man was Longzuin of the Eastern Baron Dragon Clan. The Eastern Baron Dragon Clan was stronger than the West Sea Dragon Clan. Cut the crap. There is only a Longzuin who dies in battle, not a Longzuin who lowers his head, Longzuin said in a domineering voice. Good. The heavenly Buddha Supreme didn't speak anymore. Longzuin was not a small figure. He was known as the strongest demon in the Eastern Baron Demon Clan. At this time, Huangfu Zun and the others were watching from afar. Your Second Highness, do you think the heavenly Buddha Supreme can kill Longzuin? Ancestor Tianhong asked. That's hard to say. Longzuin is the strongest Emperor Realm expert in the Eastern Baron territory. Long Xiao said in a low voice. The Eastern Baron Dragon Clan was actually related to the West Sea Dragon Clan by blood. However, the Eastern Baron Dragon Clan had always regarded themselves as the orthodox Void Realm Dragon Clan. In their eyes, the West Sea Dragon Clan was not the orthodox Void Realm Dragon Clan. For the sake of the orthodox Void Realm Dragon Clan, the relationship between the West Sea Dragon Clan and the Eastern Baron Dragon Clan was not good. But the 7 Buddha Supremes are not to be trifled with, Huangfu Zun said in a low voice. 7 Buddha Supremes against Longzuin. This was definitely a good show. Huangfu Zun felt his blood boiling. At this time, the Eastern Baron Demon Clan's army was in danger. They were being attacked by the army led by Long Xiao and the Grand Magus King's army in Dongyang City. The Eastern Baron Demon Clan's army began to show signs of defeat. Woo! A horn sounded from the Eastern Baron Demon Clan's army. As soon as the horn sounded, the Eastern Baron Demon Clan's army retreated while fighting, beginning to break out of the encirclement. Your Second Highness, they're going to escape, Ancestor Tianhong said excitedly. After defeating the Eastern Baron Demon Clan, the Eastern Baron territory would have a new master. Let them escape, as long as we can keep Longzuin here, Long Xiaozhou said with a serious expression. In her eyes, the hundreds of thousands of elite Demon Clan soldiers were no match for Longzuin. However, the Red-Browed Eagle King, the One-Armed Sword King, and the others would not let the Eastern Baron Demon Clan's army escape so easily. They split into 3 groups, wanting to stop the escaping Eastern Baron Demon Clan army. The ground was densely packed with countless warriors moving about. The troops led by the Red-Browed Eagle King and the others were like 3 giant dragons, charging towards the Eastern Baron Demon Clan's army. However, at this time, a group of cavalries charged out from the Demon Clan's army. These soldiers were not riding horses, but ferocious beasts called Black Iron Beasts. This Black Iron Beast was covered in thick black scales that were impervious to swords and spears. There was also a sharp horn on its head. Riding on this Black Iron Beast was simply unstoppable. Thousands of Black Iron Beasts charged, creating a gap in the Red-Browed Eagle King and the others' encirclement. The Demon Clan's army rushed out from the gap. The Red-Browed Eagle King and the others' battle formation could not stop the torrent at all, and the Demon Clan's army broke out of the encirclement. Chapter 5395. The ancestral demon was a super antique in the eastern wilderness, or even the entire Void Realm. His era was second only to the era of Sacred Lord Su Tian. No one knew how long this old ancestor of the demon race had lived. No one knew why this once invincible existence in the eastern wasteland, or even the entire Void Realm, had sealed itself in the ancestral cave of the 9 dragons in the eastern wasteland. At that moment, the blood essence of the 5 great demon clans in the eastern wilderness activated the ancient altar that was guarding the 9-dragon ancestral cave. The ancestral demon, who had been asleep for countless years, had finally awakened. Rumble! An unimaginably powerful divine will erupted from the ancient altar. The entire world shook, and all the essence chi in the eastern wilderness gathered towards the ancestral cave of the 9 dragons. Ancestral demon! On the altar, Patriarch Fire Qilin and the others were extremely excited. With the appearance of the demonic ancestor, the crisis facing the eastern wilderness demon race could be resolved. In their eyes, the demonic ancestor would definitely be able to defeat Gu Fei and even unify the Void World. One must know that the Eastern Baron Demon clan once had an extremely glorious era. Under the leadership of the ancestral demon, the Eastern Wilderness demons had almost unified the Void Realm and become the ruler of the Void Realm. At that time, there was no Ling Tian Palace or the invincible Ling Tian Palace Lord in the Void Realm. Ling Tian Palace and the Sky Clan had only appeared later. However, because the era of the ancestral demon was so long ago, not many people in the Void Realm knew how powerful the ancestral demon was. At that moment, cracks appeared on the altar, which had existed for an unknown period of time. It looked like it could collapse at any time. The ancestral demon is coming out. Let's go! Old Ancestor Firekalin let out a loud cry and shot up into the sky from the sacrificial altar, retreating into the distance. The other experts of the demon clan also turned into beams of light and rushed out from the altar. Boom! Just as these demon clan experts left the altar directly collapsed in the void. Countless pieces of rubble fell, revealing a lotus platform. This was no ordinary lotus platform. It was a crystal-clear lotus platform made of jade. This was the highest quality divine jade in the entire Void Realm. In the outside world, a fist-sized piece of this divine jade was a priceless treasure. The divine jade that came from the ancestral cave of the 9 dragons was the legendary ancestral jade. How is this possible? At this moment, Ancestor Firekalin and the others who had retreated to the distance stared at the ancestral jade lotus seat floating above the 9 dragons' ancestral vein. The 9 dragon ancestral jade lotus throne was empty. Where's the old ancestor? The old ancestor of the Black Tortoise clan exclaimed. The patriarch is missing? The dragon forefather's expression changed drastically. The demon ancestor was the ancestor of their dragon clan. Otherwise, the demon ancestor would not have chosen to hibernate in the 9 dragons' ancestral cave. The demon ancestor of the Eastern Wasteland demon race was also known as the ancestor of all demons. He was the supreme leader of the Eastern Wasteland demon race, and the invincible existence in the hearts of all demons. Of course, the ancestor of all demons had been in slumber for countless years. Apart from the Eastern Wilderness Demon Clan, almost no demon clan knew that they had such an ancestor. Interesting, they're still playing this game! In the distant sky, Gu Fei, who was standing on the clouds, smiled when he saw this scene. While Forefather Firekalin and the others were at a loss for what to do, rays of divine light suddenly converged on the 9 dragons' ancestral jade lotus throne above the 9 dragons' ancestral cave. Everyone stared at the scene with wide eyes. A figure emerged from the divine light. A child? Forefather Firekalin and the others nearly fell from the sky when they saw the figure clearly. A child had appeared on the 9 dragons' ancestral jade lotus throne. The child was dressed in white and sat on the lotus throne with a tired expression. He even stretched lazily. The child rubbed his eyes as if he hadn't woken up yet. Even a veteran Emperor Realm cultivator like Forefather Firekalin's jaw dropped to the ground. No one would have thought that the legendary ancestor of all demons of the Eastern Wilderness demon race was a child. Moreover, the child looked just like a human. Has the old ancestor cultivated into a human? An absurd thought suddenly popped into Forefather Firekalin's mind. What are you all doing? A childish voice suddenly sounded. Are you the old ancestor? The divine king of the Phoenix clan asked carefully. This fellow had lost a portion of his heart blood and his vitality was greatly damaged. He spoke weakly and was barely able to fly in the sky. Of course. The white-robed child sitting on the 9 dragons' ancestral jade lotus throne said impatiently. Why did you disturb my sleep? The white-robed child swept a glance at the monsters in the sky. Old ancestor, the Eastern Wilderness demon race is at a critical juncture of life and death. You must uphold justice for us. The Emperor Realm forefather of the Dragon clan complained to the white-robed child with tears and snot running down his face. Scram! The white-robed child waved his right hand at the Dragon Emperor. Slap! A crisp slap rang out. The Dragon Emperor of the Dragon clan had actually been slapped by the white-clothed child. Then, he was sent flying and instantly disappeared from everyone's sight. The other monster experts were dumbfounded when they saw the Dragon Emperor being slapped away by the white-robed child. "TSK, I only make decisions for myself. Why should I make decisions for you guys?" the white-robed child said disapprovingly. "What?" Forefather Phyrecolin and the rest felt that something was wrong. What's wrong with the all-monsters ancestor? Doesn't he care about the survival of the Eastern Wilderness demon race? Don't bother me if there's nothing important. Don't bother me if there's something important. Do you understand? The white-robed child laid down and wanted to continue sleeping. Old ancestor, are you really going to ignore the demon race? Forefather Phyrecolin was anxious. If the all-monsters ancestor didn't take action, who could stop Gu Fei? The Eastern Wilderness demon race couldn't take it anymore. If the ancestor of all monsters didn't care about the Eastern Wilderness monster tribe, the Eastern Wilderness monster tribe would only have two paths to take. One was to submit to Gu Fei and become his slaves. The other was to fight to the bitter end, and the Eastern Wilderness monster tribe would be annihilated by Gu Fei. Gu Fei had done something like this before. Didn't he annihilate the Phoenix race? Although Gu Fei didn't exterminate the Phoenix race, they were only left with the old, weak, women, and children. They couldn't do much anymore. If they didn't submit, then the other 4 demon clans of the Eastern Barren Territory would be wiped out. Only a small number of demons would survive. Forefather Phyrecolin didn't want to see such an outcome. Who cares? Go to the side if you want to live or die. The white-robed child on the 9-dragon ancestral jade lotus said impatiently. This? Forefather Phyrecolin and the rest were speechless. What should they do? They came here to awaken the all-monsters ancestor, but he didn't care about the survival of the Eastern Wilderness demon race. How were they supposed to continue? Chapter 5396. No one would have thought that the legendary ancestor of all monsters was a weirdo. He didn't care about the lives of the monsters and only wanted to sleep. Gu Fei was speechless when he saw this. However, he did not dare to underestimate the ancestor of all demons who had turned into a human boy. That was because this fellow was a true infinite prime. It was hard to imagine that there was an infinite prime in the Void Realm other than the snow monster's true form. The waters of the Void Realm were much deeper than he had imagined. "Ancestor, save me!" The Emperor Realm forefather of the Black Tortoise clan lay prone in the air and began to cry with snot and tears streaming down his face. "Ancestor, the Phoenix clan was annihilated by Gu Fei. You must avenge us!" The divine king of the Phoenix clan also knelt down and kowtowed to the white-robed boy on the 9-dragon ancestral jade lotus. "The Phoenix clan was annihilated? Then why are you still here?" the boy said indifferently. His fair face was expressionless. He had lived for countless years. What had he not experienced? The annihilation of the Phoenix clan did not affect him at all. He would not feel sad even if the entire Eastern Barren Monster clan was annihilated. The ancestor of all monsters was a connate life form. He did not leave behind any descendants and had no attachments. Therefore, even if the Eastern Barren Monster clan was annihilated by Gu Fei, it had nothing to do with him. The God King of the Phoenix clan was stunned. He had never thought that his ancestor would say something like that, so he had no idea how to reply for a moment. "All right, stop crying in front of me. I won't fall for it. You want me to risk my life for a few tears? Dream on," the boy sneered. The fat ancestor of the Black Tortoise stopped crying. The divine king of the Phoenix clan was dumbfounded. "You've been watching the show for so long. You still don't want to come out?" The white-robed boy on the 9-dragon ancestral jade lotus suddenly looked up at the sky. "What?" The Fire Qilin Patriarch and the others were shocked. Someone was watching the show from the sidelines. They did not sense it at all. The person's cultivation was definitely higher than theirs. What a surprise! The ancestor of all demons is actually a child? A figure suddenly appeared in front of the 9-dragon ancestral jade lotus throne without any warning. "It's Gu Fei?" Old Ancestor Fire Qilin exclaimed when he saw that person. What? All the demon race experts were shocked. Gu Fei actually found this place. How did he know of this place? The arrival of Gu Fei made everyone dumbfounded. Ancestor, this is Gu Fei. He is the one who annihilated our Phoenix clan. The God King of the Phoenix clan stared at Gu Fei and gritted his teeth. Are you the one who destroyed the Phoenix clan? You do have some ability. The little boy glanced at Gu Fei and said indifferently. You're the one who's capable. You've actually cast off your demon body and cultivated a human form. Gu Fei was able to see through this fellow at a glance. This fellow was no longer a demon, but a brand new creature. There were no demon characteristics on his body. No matter how he looked at it, he was a human. You actually know? The white-robed little boy finally revealed a shocked expression. This human is incredible. He can actually see through me. TSK, small Dao. Gu Fei said disapprovingly. Small Dao? The little boy was immediately displeased. He had spent his entire life casting off his demon body and cultivated the innate limitless Dao constitution. How dare this fellow say that his Dao is a small Dao? If his Dao is a small Dao, then what kind of Dao is a great Dao? If it's not a small Dao, then what is it? We humans are born with the ability to cultivate, but you have to cultivate your entire life before you can transform into a human form. That's the difference. Gu Fei said indifferently. The white-robed little boy was speechless. Gu Fei, I'm going to kill you. The God King of the Phoenix clan suddenly roared and pounced at Gu Fei. An extremely violent fire elemental force erupted from his body. In the next moment, this fellow turned into a fire phoenix, burning half of the sky red. This fellow is a God King. Once a God King goes all out, it's terrifying. The white-robed little boy on the Nine-Dragon Ancestral Jade Lotus platform did not care about this at all. He continued to lie down lazily, ignoring everything that was happening. A tiny firefly dares to compete with the blazing sun? Gu Fei casually waved his right hand and the ferocious fire phoenix flew away, disappearing without a trace. He did not kill the God King of the Phoenix clan. However, even if the God King of the Phoenix clan did not die, he would be half dead. This old ancestor Firekulin and the rest were very fearful of Gu Fei and did not dare to attack Gu Fei. You're also limitless Dao. Very good. The white-robed little boy on the Nine-Dragon Ancestral Jade Lotus platform said indifferently. We're all limitless Dao. Let's fight. Gu Fei said to the little boy. Are you crazy? Why should I fight with you? The little boy sneered. Let's fight. Gu Fei said and did not wait for the little boy to speak. He took a step forward and punched the little boy on the lotus platform. It seemed like a casual punch, but the Dao power contained within it was not to be underestimated. You're really crazy. The little boy directly stood up on the lotus platform, then rushed into the sky, arriving high up in the sky. Gu Fei withdrew his punch halfway because he did not want to destroy the Nine-Dragon Ancestral Jade Lotus platform. The Nine-Dragon Ancestral Jade was the only peerless divine jade in the world. Although there were ancestral jades in the Void Realm, they were worlds apart from the Nine-Dragon Ancestral Jade. Humph! Gu Fei sneered and chased after the little boy. 5 elements unite, world domination fist! Gu Fei threw another punch at the little boy. The power of the 5 elements condensed on his fist, turning into a torrent of the 5 elements that surged towards the little boy with unstoppable force. 5 elements? The little boy pointed with his finger. It was also the 5 elements' power. However, his finger directly broke a big hole in the mighty 5 elemental fist force. The powerful fist force passed through the little boy's surroundings but did not hurt him at all. However, just as the little boy was smugly breaking the fist force with his finger, a fist suddenly appeared in front of him. Bam! The boy's vision darkened as Gu Fei punched him in the right eye. This punch caused him to see stars, causing him to stagger and fall from the sky. Patriarch Fireshine and the others' eyeballs almost fell out of their sockets when they saw this. Their ancestor was actually knocked down from the sky by a single punch from Gu Fei? Chapter 5397. In the sky above the ancestral grounds of the Eastern Wilderness demon race, Gu Fei actually smashed the white-robed boy down from the sky with a single punch. This scene left Ancestor Fireculin and the others dumbfounded. That was their old ancestor. The human boy that the ancestor of all demons had transformed into smashed into the ground, smashing a huge hole in the ground. Ancestor of all demons? Why is he so weak? Gu Fei was a little surprised. His punch actually hit the ancestor of all demons so easily. This guy was too weak. He was not worthy of the title of ancestor of all demons. Damn it! A low roar came from the ground. Boom! Then, a loud sound was heard and the ground exploded. Dust flew everywhere as a figure rushed out from the ground. The little guy's hair was disheveled and there were dark circles around his eyes. His body was covered in dust, and he looked extremely pathetic. How dare you hit my handsome face? The little boy roared at Gu Fei. I'm sorry. I don't remember. Don't hit someone's face when you hit them. I'm sorry. Gu Fei shrugged and said indifferently. You bastard! The little boy that the ancestor of all demons transformed into was furious. His eyes turned blood red. Why? Are you going to lose your temper? Gu Fei smiled. At this time, Ancestor Fireculin and the others quietly retreated into the sky. A battle of this level was not something they could interfere with. They did not want to be involved in the battle between these two powerful people. Although you're small, your temper is really big. Gu Fei continued. I've lived for countless years and I once followed Sacred Lord Su Tian. How dare you hurt my face? After saying that, the ancestral of all demons roared into the sky. An endless amount of power immediately burst forth from his body. Then, he began to grow taller and bigger. Before long, he had turned into a sturdy young man. The form of a child was just one of the forms that the ancestor of all demons could take. This guy was starting to use his battle form. Countless ancient and mysterious Tao patterns appeared in the void around the ancestor of all demons. The entire void of heaven and earth trembled continuously from the impact of the Yuan Qi that erupted from the body of the all demons' ancestor. The mighty might of an unbounded state erupted from the body of the ancestral of all demons. It was as though the entire world was about to be crushed by this terrifying might. Old Ancestor Fireculin and the others couldn't bear such pressure, so they retreated even further away. In the face of the enraged ancestor of all demons, Gu Fei remained calm and collected. He did not release any powerful aura from his body. Instead, his aura and power were all kept within his body. You followed Sacred Master Su Tian before? Gu Fei couldn't help but frown. This fellow had lived for far too long. It had to be known that Sacred Master Su Tian had appeared in the Void Realm when it was still in the Desolate Era. This Thousand Demons ancestor had actually followed Sacred Master Su Tian before. This fellow was definitely the oldest existence in the Void World. You know Sacred Lord Su Tian? The Thousand Demons ancestor, who had transformed into a black-haired young man, stared at Gu Fei. His blood-red pupils contracted violently. Haha, not only do I know Sacred Master Su Tian, I even killed one of his incarnations. Gu Fei laughed. What? When the Thousand Demons ancestor heard this, he couldn't help but be shocked. Sacred Master Su Tian actually had an incarnation left in the Void World? And it was killed by this fella in front of him? Sacred Master Su Tian was an extremely ancient existence. In the current world, the Thousand Demons ancestor was probably the only one who still remembered Sacred Master Su Tian. Even Palace Master Ling Tian, Yu Xian of the Tian clan, and the old ancestor of the Buddha clan didn't know who Sacred Master Su Tian was. This was because when they appeared in the Void World, Sacred Master Su Tian had already disappeared for countless years. Alright, let's have some fun! Gu Fei's fighting spirit was raging. The reason why he wanted to fight with this fellow was so that he could practice his skills. Play your head! The Thousand Demons ancestor roared angrily. In the next moment, he suddenly disappeared from the spot and appeared in front of Gu Fei. He then punched towards Gu Fei's chest. He was truly enraged. When the Thousand Demons' ancestor attacked in anger, it was naturally very terrifying. Gu Fei countered with a knee strike. Bam! A muffled sound of collision could be heard. The two figures separated in an instant, and then charged at each other again. The two figures moved quickly in the air and began to fight. Powerful boundless yuan-chi ripples spread out, and ripples visible to the naked eye appeared in the air. These spatial ripples spread out in all directions. The experts of the entire Eastern Baron could feel the fluctuations of this battle. All the powerful living beings felt two terrifying auras that made their souls tremble. What happened? It's Master? Who's the other aura? At this moment, the battle in Dongyang City had already ended. The army of the Eastern Baron Demon Clan had broken out of the encirclement. The red-browed Eagle King and the others couldn't stop the army at all. The army of the Eastern Baron Demon Clan had suffered heavy casualties, but they still retained their strength and weren't defeated. Gu Fei's army didn't follow up with another attack either. Just as Long Xiaozhou led the army into Dongyang City, she felt the aura of her master, Gu Fei. Is Master fighting with someone again? Xiaoya, who was overseeing the headquarters of Zhong Tian, also sensed the auras of Gu Fei and the Thousand Demons' ancestor. That madman! On the Zhong Tian snow mountain, a figure sitting cross-legged on the peak opened his eyes. In the Ling Tian Palace, the Ling Tian Palace Lord, who was in seclusion, also came out. In the Tian clan's ancestral land, Yu Xian also walked out and looked in the direction of the Eastern Baron. Rumble! In the original ancestral land of the Zhong Tian Buddha clan, a shocking sound suddenly rang out. Then, a spatial crack suddenly appeared in the sky above the Buddhist land. A powerful demonic aura rushed out from the spatial crack and spread out in the void. A terrifying demonic aura appeared in the world. At this moment, Gu Fei was fighting with the Thousand Demons' ancestor. Boom! Gu Fei was directly sent flying by the Thousand Demons' ancestor's punch, and he smashed into a mountain in the distance. In the next moment, Gu Fei instantly rushed back and kicked the Thousand Demons' ancestor away. The ancestor of all demons fell from the sky like a meteorite and smashed into the ground. He rolled on the ground for more than 10 miles and everything in his path was destroyed. Then, he shot up into the sky and charged towards Gu Fei. Gu Fei's eyes widened. The two of them fought back and forth and were evenly matched. However, the mountains here were unlucky. Of course, although the two of them were fighting, they still had some scruples because this was the ancestral land of the 9 dragons. If they really destroyed this ancestral land, it would be troublesome. Chapter 5398. The Eastern Wilderness Ancestral Earth Vein was an important place for the Eastern Wilderness Demon Tribe. Legend had it that the Eastern Wilderness Demon Tribe originated from the Ancestral Earth Vein. The Ancestral Earth Vein of the entire Eastern Wilderness gathered here. The essence of the 9 Earth Dragons was constantly gathering towards the Ancestral Earth Vein. The Ancestral Earth Vein of the 9 Dragons was formed naturally. This might be the birthplace of the ancestral beast. In the eyes of the Eastern Wilderness Demon Tribe, the Ancestral Earth Vein of the 9 Dragons was a supreme sacred ground. Outsiders were not allowed to enter this place. Anyone who entered this place would only face one fate, death. For countless years, no one had ever dared to enter the Ancestral Earth Vein of the 9 Dragons. But today, someone had broken the rules set by the Eastern Wilderness Demon Tribe. The fact that Gu Fei had entered the Ancestral Earth Vein of the 9 Dragons without anyone knowing and even fought with the old ancestor of the Eastern Wilderness Demon Tribe had shocked Ancestor Firecolin and the others. But there was nothing they could do. Gu Fei was so powerful that even if he entered the Ancestral Earth Vein of the 9 Dragons, Ancestor Firecolin and the others would not be able to do anything to him. This was the advantage of having a strong fist. Gu Fei's fist was much stronger than Ancestor Firecolin and the others. Therefore, the rules set by the Eastern Wilderness Demon Tribe could not restrain him. At this time, an earth-shattering battle was taking place in the sky above the Ancestral Earth Vein of the 9 Dragons. Gu Fei was itching to fight the ancestral beast when he saw the ancestral beast. However, The ancestral beast did not want to fight and only wanted to sleep. However, when Gu Fei made his move, the ancestral beast had no choice but to fight. "You're sick!" The ancestral beast was furious. "Why did this guy want to fight me? I'm sick. Do you have any medicine to cure me?" Gu Fei continued to attack indifferently. "Great Sky Annihilation Palm!" Gu Fei struck out with the palm technique that he had learned from the Great Sky Emperor. The Great Sky Emperor was also a powerful infinite prime. The Great Sky Annihilation Palm that he had created was a true infinite prime palm technique. After Gu Fei struck out with the Great Sky Annihilation Palm, the entire heaven and earth shook under his palm energy. Even the 9 dragons' ancestral land was shaking. One after another, ancient and abstruse Tao patterns emerged from the 9 dragons' ancestral land, interweaving into a giant net that enveloped the entire 9 dragons' ancestral land. Formation? Gu Fei's heart skipped a beat seeing this. He had already guessed that the East Barren Beast tribe would set up an array to protect the 9 dragons' ancestral ground. That was because this was the ancestral land of the Eastern Barren Territory's demons. It was also the holy land in the hearts of every demon in the Eastern Barren Territory. However, Gu Fei did not expect the 9 dragons' ancestral land's formation to be so powerful that it could withstand the energy fluctuations of the Peerless God Realm. Could it be in Peerless God Realm formation? Even he couldn't set up an infinite grade formation. Now that the 9 dragons' ancestor land's formation had been activated, it would not be easy for Gu Fei to enter the 9 dragons' ancestor land again. "You bastard, now even I can't go back." The moment the ancestor of all demons caught sight of the gigantic net that was formed from ancient Tao patterns, he was dumbfounded as well. He was enraged. "Go to hell!" The ancestor of all demons waved his hands. In an instant, the sky was filled with the shadows of his palms, sealing off all of Gu Fei's escape routes. 1,000 Buddha palms! Without a second thought, Gu Fei used the Buddha tribe's theurgy. Countless shadows of palms rushed out from his hands and collided with the ancestor of all demons' palms. A series of collisions could be heard, and pitch black holes appeared in the sky one after another. The power of the two of them actually shattered the void. Of course, these holes were only the size of an adult's fist, and they disappeared as soon as they appeared. They were instantly repaired by the Void Realm's heaven and earth energy. The Void Realm's heaven and earth energy was so strong that it could even suppress a low-level Peerless God Realm existence. Of course, the Void Realm's heaven and earth energy was only used to suppress Peerless gods who came from outside. The Void Realm's heaven and earth energy did not suppress Peerless gods who were born and raised here. This was because Gu Fei was an outsider. When his Peerless God energy clashed with the Void Realm's heaven and earth energy, he would naturally be suppressed. But now that he had refined Sacred Leader Void Sky's heaven and earth energy, the Void Realm's heaven and earth energy could no longer suppress him. The shadows of palms disappeared, and 2 figures were sent flying. "All right, I don't want to fight with you anymore." The ancestor of all demons was about to charge downwards. Right now, he just wanted to return to his ancestral cave of the 9 dragons and continue to sleep. The ancestor of all demons was sleeping in the ancestral cave of the 9 dragons. He was not just sleeping, he was undergoing some sort of transformation. He was using the ancestral cave of the 9 dragons to undergo some sort of transformation. Moreover, this transformation had reached a crucial point. This was also the reason why the ancestor of all demons did not want to bother with the Eastern Barren Monster tribe. The ancestor of all demons did not want his transformation to be affected. "You think I'll stop fighting just because you say so? That won't do." In a flash, Gu Fei appeared in front of the ancestor of all demons, blocking his way. "Preposterous. Do you really want to fight to the death with me?" the ancestor of all demons said angrily. "Tisk, who's afraid of you?" Gu Fei struck out with his palm again. Rumble! His palm instantly enlarged in the void, blocking the entire void in front of the ancestor of all demons. Like a divine mountain, it charged towards the ancestor of all demons. The violent palm force shook the heavens and the earth. "Kill!" The ancestor of all demons was truly enraged. In the next instant, 9 shadows of dragons burst out from his body, turning into 9 ancestral dragons that charged towards Gu Fei's palm force. Boom! With a deafening explosion, the 9 ancestral dragons broke through Gu Fei's palm force and shrunk rapidly. Like 9 divine ropes, they coiled around Gu Fei. The 9 ancestral dragons coiled around Gu Fei's body tightened, causing the sound of bones moving to be heard from Gu Fei's body. At the same time, the ancestor of all demons appeared in front of Gu Fei and pointed a finger at the center of Gu Fei's brows. If Gu Fei were to be struck by the ancestor of all demons' finger, even if he did not die, his vitality would be greatly damaged. "Aren't you dead this time round? How dare you provoke me? You deserve to die." The ancestor of all demons could already see Gu Fei's head exploding from his finger. However, his attack, which he thought was foolproof, failed. Gu Fei's figure actually became faint and illusory, as if he was about to merge with the surrounding void. It was as though the ancestor of all demons' finger had touched the void, and there was no sense of force behind it at all. How could this be? The ancestor of all demons was extremely shocked. Just as the ancestor of all demons was in shock, Gu Fei kicked him in the chest and sent him flying. "You!" The ancestor of all demons was kicked in the chest by Gu Fei and only stopped after flying 100 miles away. He lowered his head and saw that his chest had caved in. With a single breath, his caved-in chest recovered. At the level of the ancestor of all demons, one's physical body could be restored instantly. Damn it! Chapter 5399. The ancestor of all demons was truly angered by Gu Fei. This human had disturbed his slumber for no reason and even wanted to pick a fight with him. This was too much. Roar! The young man that the ancestor of all demons had transformed into let out a furious roar. In the next moment, his body changed once more. The muscles on his body bulged and he grew taller by half a head. The ancestor of all demons had turned into a huge man with muscles all over his body, filled with power. One after another, ancient Tao patterns appeared on his body and coiled around him. Every single Tao pattern was emitting a strong power of the great Tao. Kill! The ancestor of all demons had the intention to kill Gu Fei. A terrifying killing intent appeared in the sky, causing the weather to change and the sun and moon to dim. In the next moment, the ancestor of all demons disappeared from where he was. The moment the ancestor of all demons disappeared, Gu Fei's heart skipped a beat. Before he could react, he felt a sharp pain in his chest. It was as though he had been slammed by a godly mountain, and he was sent flying backward. "You dare to mess with me?" The ancestor of all demons appeared where Gu Fei was. In the next moment, he disappeared once more and caught up to Gu Fei. He then stepped on Gu Fei's body. Bam! With a dull thud, Gu Fei was stomped down from the sky by the ancestor of all demons. Boom! With a loud sound, Gu Fei crashed into the ground like a meteor, creating a huge crater. A cloud of dust rose into the air. Looking at this scene, Ancestor Fireshine and the others were surprised and overjoyed. The ancestor was indeed the ancestor. To think that he could defeat Gu Fei. The Eastern Wilderness demon race was saved now. No matter how strong the army under Gu Fei was, even if Gu Fei's underlings occupied the entire Eastern Wilderness, as long as the ancestor of all demons killed Gu Fei's underlings would not be a threat anymore. The only person that the entire Eastern Wilderness demon race feared was Gu Fei. Therefore, as long as Gu Fei was there, the Eastern Barren Beasts would not be able to turn the tables. Boom! Just as Patriarch Fire Qilin and the others were overwhelmed with joy, the ground suddenly exploded. In the next moment, a figure shot up into the sky and arrived in front of the ancestor of all demons. Not bad, it's really not bad. These 2 hits of yours make me feel very comfortable. Gu Fei twisted his neck and then twisted his waist. The sound of bones cracking could be heard from his body. You're a lunatic. You're really sick, and you're seriously sick. The all-demons ancestor was dumbfounded. This guy had been punched and stomped on by him, And yet he was completely fine? How was this possible? The All-Demons Patriarch was very confident in his own strength. He had given up his original body and cultivated the innate Taoist physique because it was stronger than his original body. The 1,000 Demons' ancestors' punch was enough to shatter a godly mountain. His stomp was enough to flatten a mountain range. However, Gu Fei was completely unscathed after withstanding the 1,000 Demons' ancestors' punch and kick. The 1,000 Demons' ancestor could not help but be shocked. Could this guy's physical body be even stronger than his innate Taoist physique? How could there be such a strong physical body in this world? Even though the 1,000 Beast ancestor's expression remained calm, his heart was in turmoil. He had once followed Sacred Master Su Tian. Sacred Lord Su Tian was his master. His master's strength was undeniable. Sacred Lord Su Tian was once the master of the Void Realm. Could this guy's physical body be comparable to his former master's? Again! Gu Fei charged at the 1,000 Demons' ancestor. You lunatic! The 1,000 Demons' ancestor attacked with all his might. His speed and strength were much stronger than before. As if there was no suspense, Gu Fei was sent flying again. Moreover, the 1,000 Demons' ancestor chased after him. His fist rained down on Gu Fei's body. He was determined to kill the guy in front of him. However, although Gu Fei was punched repeatedly, he was not injured. The strength of an unbounded martial body was far beyond his expectations. Even the 1,000 Demons' ancestor could not hurt him. However, no matter how strong the unbounded martial body was, he would still feel pain. Now, Gu Fei was in a state of pain and happiness. Clashing sounds rang continuously. In the distant sky, Patriarch Fireshine and the others saw that Gu Fei could not fight back against their patriarch's fists. Ha ha! Gu Fei is dead meat. The divine king of the Phoenix tribe, who had been sent flying by Gu Fei, rushed back. She was overjoyed to see Gu Fei being tortured by their patriarch. Patriarch Fireshine, Patriarch Black Tortoise, and Patriarch Green Dragon were extremely nervous. This battle was too important. It concerned the fate of the entire Eastern Wilderness. If the Patriarch won, the Eastern Wilderness would still belong to the demons. If the Patriarch lost, the Eastern Wilderness would have a new master. It could not be helped. Reality was cruel. Just as Gu Fei was enjoying the torture of the 1,000 Demons' ancestor, the war in the Eastern Wilderness continued. Both sides were mobilizing their troops. As for the Eastern Wilderness demons, they were on the defensive. After the battle in Dongyang City, they had lost their advantage. Although their main force was still there, they had no choice but to be on the defensive. After Long Xiaozhou broke the siege of Dongyang City, he did not immediately launch a second wave of attacks. With Dongyang City as his base, he began to prepare to conquer the Eastern Wilderness. Gu Fei conquering the world was no joke. The empty realm needed a master. In the city lord's office of Dongyang City, Long Xiaozhou sat on the throne in the main hall and looked down at the experts below. Long Xiaozhou was in high spirits. She had never been as excited as she was today. She had never dreamed that she would have the chance to lead an army into the Eastern Wilderness. One had to know that the Eastern Wilderness was the world of the Eastern Wilderness demons. But now, the Eastern Wilderness demons were about to have a new master. The Eastern Wilderness was second only to the Middle Sky. Among the 5 main regions of the Void Realm, the Eastern Wilderness demons were only slightly weaker than the Sky Clan and the Buddha Clan of the Middle Sky. Moreover, the Eastern Wilderness Demon Clan had a trump card, the mysterious and unpredictable ancestor of all demons. The 1,000 Demons' ancestor was a legend in the Eastern Wilderness and even the entire Void Realm. It was precisely because the Eastern Wilderness demons had such a trump card that no one dared to offend them. Of course, Gu Fei was an exception. He did not care about the 1,000 Demons' ancestor. Your Second Highness, are we going to start now? Patriarch Tianhong asked Long Xiaozhou, who was sitting on the throne. Let's wait first. Long Xiao muttered. They could not advance rashly now. One had to know that the Eastern Wilderness demons were not to be trifled with. Wait! Your Second Highness, We should follow up on our victory and defeat the army of the Eastern Wilderness demons in one go. Someone stood up and said. Chapter 5400. Eastern Wilderness, Dongyang City. This ancient city experienced the baptism of war once more, but it still stood tall in the eastern wasteland. This war didn't cause too much damage to Dongyang City. The city lord, the Great Witch King, sat in the main hall as if everything before him had nothing to do with him. Long Xiaozhou's arrival had turned the city lord of Dongyang City into a decoration. Because Long Xiaozhou was here, everything in Dongyang City was decided by Long Xiaozhou. As the city lord of Dongyang City, he could only smile on the side. The Great Witch King did not dare to say anything. After all, if Long Xiaozhou had not led the army to save Dongyang City, it would have been a different scene. At this time, the people in the hall were divided into two factions. One faction wanted to set up camp in Dongyang City first, then conquer the eastern wilderness. However, the other faction wanted to take advantage of the situation and completely defeat the eastern wilderness demon army. Both camps had a point. The former was the safest, and there would be no accidents. However, the second was to take advantage of the situation. This method might really be able to directly defeat the eastern wilderness demon army and directly control the entire eastern wilderness. Even Long Xiaozhou was tempted by the Red-Browed Eagle King's proposal. How about this, Red-Browed Eagle King? You lead the cavalry to chase after the demon army. The others will rest in Dongyang City. Long Xiaozhou pondered for a moment before speaking. Yes, Your Highness. The Red-Browed Eagle King was overjoyed when he heard this, and then he bowed to Long Xiaozhou before leaving the hall. Soon, the Red-Browed Eagle King led his tens of thousands of cavalry out of Dongyang City and toward the place where the Eastern Wilderness Demon Army was stationed. The war broke out again. The Red-Browed Eagle King led the elites of Southern Man. Under the leadership of the Red-Browed Eagle King, the 16 feudal lords launched an attack on the Eastern Wasteland Demon Race Army. However, the Heaven Culmination race did not move. However, even so, the Nan-Man army directly broke through several cities, and the Monster Clan army had to retreat again. At this time, Gu Fei was in the ancestral land of the Eastern Wilderness Demon race, fighting the legendary demon ancestor. Two figures were moving rapidly above the 9 dragons' ancestral vein. Gu Fei was continuously sent flying by the 10,000 demon ancestor. Gu Fei looked as though he had no way to retaliate at all, and was being abused by the 10,000 demon king. However, in reality, Gu Fei was pretending to be a pig to eat a tiger. Gu Fei was constantly devouring the energy of the 1,000 demon ancestor. When the 1,000 demon ancestor's fist force landed on his body, a portion of it was dissipated. However, the other portion was devoured by him. Therefore, the more Gu Fei fought, the stronger he became while the ancestor of all demons grew weaker. In this way, the outcome of this battle was decided. Meanwhile, the all-demons ancestor did not know that Gu Fei was devouring his vitality. Roar! The ancestor of all demons roared continuously as he swung his fists in a frenzy towards Gu Fei. Gu Fei had lost track of how many times he had been sent flying by the 1,000 demons ancestor. However, he did not mind it at all. That was because his powers were constantly increasing. Bam! The ancestor of all demons punched hard on Gu Fei's chest once again. In the next moment, Gu Fei's clothes were instantly torn apart, and countless rags flew in the air. Gu Fei was sent flying for hundreds of miles before he managed to stop himself. He lowered his head and saw that there was a fist mark on his chest. The area that was punched had sunk into his body. However, in just a few breaths' time, the fist mark on Gu Fei's chest gradually disappeared. It had been repaired by his martial body. That's a decent punch. Gu Fei nodded. You! The ancestor of all demons was dumbfounded. This guy had been abused so badly by him, but it was as though he had not been injured at all. This made him extremely moved. Come on, come again! Gu Fei hooked his finger at the ancestor of all demons from afar. The ancestor of all demons was depressed. If you're not coming, I'll make my move! Gu Fei said as he pointed at the ancestor of all demons. Swoosh! The light from Gu Fei's finger instantly pierced through the ancestor of all demons. Just as it was about to pierce through the ancestor of all demons, the ancestor of all demons suddenly disappeared into the void. In the next moment, the ancestor of all demons appeared behind Gu Fei and punched Gu Fei's back. Bam! With a dull thud, Gu Fei was sent flying forward. But very quickly, Gu Fei stabilized himself. How is this possible? The ancestor of all demons was in disbelief. Roar! Gu Fei roared and charged at the ancestor of all demons once again. The ancestor of all demons really could not do anything to Gu Fei. I can't afford to offend you, but I can afford to hide. The ancestor of all demons fled immediately. Where do you think you're going? When Gu Fei saw that the 1,000 demons' ancestor had escaped, he was extremely surprised and immediately chased after him. However, the ancestor of all demons dove into the mountain range below and disappeared. This fella! Gu Fei was speechless. Who would have thought that the ancestor of all demons would flee? What's going on? Old Master Firekalin and the others who were watching from afar were stunned. Everything was fine earlier on, and the ancestor of all demons was torturing Gu Fei. Who would have thought that the one fleeing at this moment would be the ancestor of all demons? Old Master, this is... The king of the Phoenix race was even more shocked. Gu Fei dived into the mountain range below and fought with the ancestor of all demons in the mountain range. At this moment, Gu Fei's base in Zhongtian was attacked by a demonic being. When the news spread out, the entire Zhongtian was shocked. After Gu Fei took down Zhongtian, he left some elites to guard it. Long Xiaozhou was in charge of fighting while Xiaoye was in charge of managing Zhongtian's base. The demonic being appeared in Zhongtian once more. The appearance of this demonic being caused all the major forces to feel nervous. The ancestral ground of the Buddha race was shrouded in a demonic aura once more. The legendary limitless demon was about to strike again. Ancestral grounds of the Buddha race, in the skies above the 1,000 Buddha mountain, a demonic figure appeared. A powerful demonic aura spread out in all directions and countless living beings were turned into savage-looking demonic beings. Xiaoye led the group of Heaven Realm cultivators under her, as though they were facing a great enemy. The forces that guarded Zhongtian were not weak, but they were far from the demonic beings of the limitless demon. Once they were surrounded by the demonic beings, they would only have one choice: death. Very soon, Long Xiaozhou, who was in Eastern Wilderness, received a message from Xiaoye. What? A demonic being appeared in Zhongtian again? Long Xiaozhou could no longer sit still. Without her master around, who could fight against the limitless demon? She had no choice but to send a message to Gu Fei. What? Chapter 5401. The ancestral land of the 9 dragons was the territory of the ancestor of all monsters. If this guy wanted to hide, even Gu Fei would have a hard time finding him. A strong divine sense burst out from Gu Fei and instantly enveloped the entire ancestral land of the 9 dragons. The auras of all living beings appeared in his mind. However, there was no sign of the ancestor of all monsters among the auras. Outrageous, this guy is quite capable. Gu Fei could not help but frown, but he soon understood that the ancestor of all monsters had been sleeping on the ancestral 9 dragons' jade lotus platform. His aura had long become one with the aura of the ancestral land of the 9 dragons. Therefore, this guy could easily become one with the aura of the ancestral land of the 9 dragons. Even Gu Fei could not sense his presence. He could not find this guy for the time being. Gu Fei did not really want to fight to the death with the ancestor of all monsters. Since this guy did not want to come out, it was fine. As long as he did not mess up Gu Fei's plan, he would let him be. Just then, a flare descended from the sky. With a wave of Gu Fei's hand, the flame wisp landed in his hand. A demon appeared in the Buddhist land? Gu Fei dispersed the flame wisp in his hand, and in the next moment, he disappeared on the spot without leaving a trace. This, after Ancestor Fireshine saw that Gu Fei had left, he only dared to fly over slowly from afar. Gu Fei had beaten up their ancestors so badly that he had to flee. Who in the entire eastern wilderness could fight against him? What should they do? Ancestor Fireshine and the rest were in despair. Surrender obediently, and that guy should not make things difficult for you. Don't disturb me in the future, understand? The ancestor of all monsters' voice rang in the minds of Ancestor Fireshine and the rest. Ancestor Fireshine and the rest were speechless. Was this guy really their ancestor? They had no choice but to surrender. If they were to fight to the death with Gu Fei, the eastern wilderness monster race would be wiped out. Be it old Ancestor Fire Qilin or old Ancestor Black Tortoise, none of them wanted to die. At this time, the war in the eastern wilderness had broken out again. The southern barbarian army brought by Long Xiao had launched an attack on the eastern wilderness demon clan army. The demon army of the eastern baron kept losing ground. The demon army of the Fire Qilin clan was amazing. They actually managed to defend Moang City against the red-browed Eagle King's attack. The guardian general of the Fire Qilin clan was Fire Qilin Yen. He was an Emperor Realm expert, and he was the younger brother of the Fire Qilin forefather. Red-browed Eagle King was only at the King realm, but behind him was Huangfu Zun. With Huangfu Zun's support, even the Fire Qilin flame didn't dare to leave the city to fight. However, the other demon race armies were different, especially the Black Tortoise demon army, which was directly defeated by Long Xiaozhou's army. There were countless experts under Long Xiaozhou's command, and even she herself was a half-step Emperor Realm expert. Although the commander of the Black Tortoise demon army was also an Emperor Realm expert, Long Xiao had the monarch executioner that Gu Fei had bestowed upon her. It was a peerless divine blade that had been stained with the blood of more than one Emperor Realm expert. With the monarch executioner in hand, Long Xiaozhou had no fear of any Emperor Realm expert. Black Tortoise Dragon was extremely depressed. He was being hunted down by a junior from the West Sea. He was an emperor of the Black Tortoise clan, while his opponent was only the youngest daughter of the West Sea Dragon Emperor. She wasn't even an Emperor Realm expert. It couldn't be helped. The youngest daughter of the West Sea Dragon Emperor wielded the monarch executioner that even Emperor Realm experts were afraid of. Long Xiao had already obtained Gu Fei's 9 esoteric immortal Dao. With a single slash, she cleaved the city that Black Tortoise Dragon was guarding in half. Wherever the saber light passed, it left behind a huge ravine, splitting the entire city in half. Countless demons died under this saber. Even an Emperor Realm expert like Black Tortoise Dragon was scared out of his wits by Long Xiaozhou's slash. He fled without putting up any resistance. That monarch executioner was an absolute killing weapon. Of course, it wasn't enough to scare an Emperor Realm expert like Black Tortoise Dragon into running for his life. The reason Black Tortoise Dragon fled was because he'd received news that Long Xiaozhou's monarch executioner had been enhanced by Gu Fei. It could kill any Emperor Realm expert with it. He, Xuan Wulong, didn't want to be instantly killed by Long Xiaozhou, a little girl from the West Sea. He might be laughed at if he fled, but if he didn't, he would be instantly killed by the little girl from the West Sea. He would still be laughed at. Therefore, Black Tortoise Dragon chose to flee. Kill them! In the sky above the city, Long Xiaozhou waved the monarch executioner in her hand. In the next moment, the countless battle soldiers behind her charged towards the scattered Black Tortoise demon soldiers in the city like a tidal wave. Since the Black Tortoises had fled when they saw their commander, how could the others dare fight Long Xiaozhou's soldiers? Therefore, countless soldiers fled through the 4 city gates. Black Tortoise deserters filled the mountains and plains. Long Xiaozhou soon stopped her attack. Because Gu Fei had arrived. Master, why don't you follow up with another attack? In Long Xiaozhou's main tent, she said to Gu Fei, who was sitting on the main seat. There's no need to waste energy on this. They'll surrender soon, Gu Fei said indifferently. What? Everyone in the tent was shocked. Could it be that their master had already forced the Eastern Baron Demon clan to surrender? If they don't want to die, then they have no choice but to surrender. Gu Fei's tone was as calm as ever. Subduing the Eastern Baron monster race wasn't a difficult task. He didn't want to waste time here. Disciple, you're in charge of the Eastern Barren Territory. Kill anyone who refuses to surrender. Don't be lenient. I'll leave someone behind to help you. As Gu Fei spoke, a figure appeared in the tent with just a thought. Master, you finally thought of me? The limitless fire spirit was extremely excited. He had stayed in the little world that sacred Lord Void Sky had created for countless years and wanted to come out. The Wuji fire spirit had obtained Gu Fei's innate stone man body. At this moment, he'd perfectly fused his power with this body. The boundless fire spirit was a true boundless realm existence. An Emperor Realm cultivator was nothing in front of it. Even a transcendent Emperor Realm cultivator could be crushed to death with a single finger. In the void world, an infinite prime was invincible. This is your young master. You have to listen to her. Do you understand? If anything happens to her, you know what will happen. Gu Fei said to the Wuji fire spirit. Yes, master. With me here, no one can hurt the young master. The Wuji fire spirit said hurriedly. With the Wuji fire spirit guarding the Eastern Barren Territory, there was nothing to fear even if the super antique from the ancestral dragon vein of the Eastern Barren Territory jumped out. After settling everything, Gu Fei headed straight for the Middle Lands. Chapter 5402. Once again, Chongtian was in danger. Wuji demon had actually recovered and opened up the demonic domain. Countless demonic domain armies rushed out of the demonic domain. As the demonic chi flowed out of the demonic domain, any living creature that came into contact with the demonic chi would be demonized and turned into incomparably ferocious demonic creatures. The demonic creatures that were demonized by the demonic chi were all low-level demonic creatures that only knew how to kill. However, the high-level demons that came out of the demonic domain could easily control these low-level demonic creatures. Zhongtian was the most prosperous place in the Void Realm. It had the most living creatures in the entire Void Realm. After these living creatures were demonized by the demonic chi, they became a terrifying demonic army. The great demon that led the army of demons to surround the Zhongtian dynasty was Fire Demon Lord, one of the 5 elements demon lords under Wuji Demon Lord. The Zhongtian dynasty was one of the superpowers in Zhongtian. The power of the Zhongtian dynasty naturally could not be compared to the Sky Clan and Buddha Clan. Especially after the previous demonic chaos, the Zhongtian dynasty was almost destroyed by the demons. After surviving the previous demonic chaos, who would have thought that Gu Fei would launch a war to unify the world? Gu Fei's army killed their way into Zhongtian from the south barbarian. Everywhere they passed, countless forces in Zhongtian surrendered. The Zhongtian dynasty was no exception. As such, the Zhongtian Empire's capital had become Xiaoya's base camp in the Zhongtian Empire. The Sky Clan's primogenitor Yu Xian'er was Gu Fei's third disciple. The Buddha Clan's 7 great Buddhist lords had also surrendered to Gu Fei. Conquering Zhongtian was actually not a difficult task. Your Highness, what should we do? In the Zhongtian dynasty's palace, a group of powerhouses looked at Little Ye, who was sitting on the throne. As for the Emperor of Zhongtian, he was standing respectfully below the throne. At this time, the Emperor of Zhongtian was on the verge of a mental breakdown. This throne was supposed to be his. But now, sitting on the throne in front of him was a little girl who was not even a god king, and he, the Emperor, had to listen to this little girl. In fact, even if the Emperor of the Zhongtian Imperial Court was not convinced in his heart, it was useless. This was because he did not dare to resist, because even the Tian clan had already submitted. When the Sky High Royal Lord personally saw the old ancestor of the Sky race call Little Ye as senior sister, he was completely dumbfounded. The primogenitor of the Tian clan was a legendary supreme existence. What else can we do? Junior sister, what do you think we should do? Xiaoya said to a young and beautiful woman who was lying on a seat on the left with her legs crossed. You're the senior sister, you have the final say. Yu Xian'er said indifferently. This? Xiaoya frowned. If her junior sister was willing to make a move, how could that fire demon sovereign outside the city be a match for her? Yu Xian'er was a supreme existence that surpassed the Emperor realm. In the eyes of experts from the Void Realm, any existence that surpassed the Emperor Realm was the Transcendent Emperor Realm. The Transcendent Emperor Realm represented invincibility. Because Long Xiaozhou fought in the eastern wilderness and took away the elites and experts of southern barbarian, there were not many experts here to keep watch. However, the 4 great generals and 7 great Buddhist lords under her command were all experts among experts. Especially the 4 generals, they were once the generals under old ancestor Hong Tian. They had been through hundreds of battles and had rich experience in battles. Moreover, each of them was a transcendent Emperor Realm existence. Whether it was Wu Jixian, Wu Jishan, Wu Jidao, or Wu Jizhan, they were all existences in the Eternal Realm. In the Void Realm, the Eternal Realm was equivalent to the Transcendent Emperor Realm. The 7 Buddhist lords were all in the Emperor Realm. Your Highness, why don't I go and meet that fire demon sovereign? Wu Jizhan stood up and said. All right. Xiaoya pondered for a moment and said, All right, be careful. Yes, Your Highness. After Wu Jizhan said that, he disappeared on the spot. No one saw how he left. This kind of supreme existence in the Transcendent Emperor Realm had to listen to Xiaoya. The Sky High Royal Lord was shocked. This was an existence that even he had to look up to. At this time, Gu Fei appeared in the sky above the Sky High Royal City. As soon as he arrived, he saw a figure rushing out of the Sky High Royal City towards a powerful demonic aura outside the city. Wu Jizhan. Gu Fei recognized that person immediately. The person who rushed out of the city and into the army of demons was one of his 4 generals, Wu Jizhan. The 4 generals were specially left behind by Gu Fei to protect Xiaoya. Of course, it was enough for Xiaoya to be protected by Yu Xianer. However, Gu Fei still left behind the 4 generals. With the 4 generals protecting Xiaoya, Gu Fei could rest assured. The current situation was so bad that he had to send out the 4 generals. Gu Fei was not in a hurry to enter the Sky High Royal City. At this time, an angry roar came from the army of demons outside the city. Roar. The terrifying demonic roar spread out in all directions. The surrounding demonic aura was immediately affected by the sound waves. A powerful demonic aura erupted, but at the same time, another powerful aura erupted as well. The 2 forces, one righteous and one evil, were confronting each other. Interesting. Gu Fei felt a little surprised when he sensed the demonic aura. That limitless demon actually had such a powerful subordinate. Back then, Yu Xianer fused with Ling Tian Palace Master and transformed into the Limitless Sword Master to fight against the limitless demon. That battle was earth-shattering and almost destroyed this part of the world. In the end, the limitless demon was no match for the Limitless Sword Master and had no choice but to retreat into his devil domain. Now, the limitless demon actually recovered and dared to kill his way out of the devil domain. This made Gu Fei curious. How did this guy recover in such a short period of time? The Limitless Sword Master was a ruthless character. The limitless demon was defeated by the Limitless Sword Master and suffered heavy injuries. Boom! At this time, a loud sound rang out. 2 fists instantly collided with each other. This was simply like 2 huge mountains colliding, causing the entire void to tremble. Violent energy waves erupted, causing transparent ripples to appear in the void and spread out in all directions. The 2 figures flew backwards, but they immediately charged at each other again. The dull sound of the collision was like an incomparably shocking thunder, causing the ears of all living beings to buzz. Those living beings with weaker cultivations even fainted from the impact. The battle between these 2 transcendent emperors was simply a disaster to the army of demons outside the city. The mighty fluctuations of power that descended from the sky directly caused countless demonic creatures to turn into clouds of blood mist. However, the death of countless demons and demonic creatures was completely ignored by the Fire Devil Lord. You're tuning in to the Phoenix Knights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.